Warning. The Dub Talk podcast may contain language and content that may not be suitable for younger audiences. Listener discretion is advised. There will also be spoilers for various anime throughout the course of this episode. Please proceed with caution in case we discuss a series you've yet to finish. Finally, the opinions expressed are those of the individual participants and do not reflect the Dub Talk podcast as a whole. Enjoy the show.
Mesdames and messieurs, good evening. As the curtain rises, the young gentlemen ponder ideals as their story is entrenched with turmoil, life and death, love and revenge, hope and despair. These leave far more questions than answers as they dive deeper into the chasm of the untold story that is about to unfold. My friend's anticipation only continues to grow at what the truth may uncover from the darkness. Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Dub Talk Classics. This is a series where we discuss the greatest of the English dub realm and bring to light those timeless stories. I am Countess Stephanie of Monte Cristo, and I am joined this evening by my good friends, Andrew de Morserf.
Oui, baguette, omelette du fromage, j'avais d'azur.
You are an insult to French people everywhere. Stop.
Good.
And Noah Depenai.
I was told that we were going to be counting Monte Cristo sandwiches on this podcast, and I'm seeing a disturbing lack of sandwich materials around.
That's next week, Noah. You have the wrong night.
Okay. Does anyone even know what a Monte Cristo is?
Vaguely.
You don't?
Is it
Vaguely.
actually a sandwich?
It is a sandwich, yes.
Okay.
It is. It's a ham. It's a turkey, ham, and Swiss sandwich that you make up the sandwich, and then you basically dip the sandwich in batter, and you basically cook it like a French toast. You know, like cinnamon, egg batter, fry it, and when it's all fried up, you top it off with some powdered sugar. Oh, it's so good.
That actually does sound pretty good. Fuck.
Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with this particular Monte Cristo.
I was gonna say, this Monte Cristo is not quite that crispy. He's actually a little bit crusty.
Andrew, rude.
Look, they throw you in the back of the fridge for like a couple decades. You're gonna get a little stale.
He wasn't even in a fridge.
Bloodlusty.
He wasn't even in a fridge.
No, he kind of was. He was in a space fridge, as it were.
He was literally fridged in the edges of space.
We're arguing semantics right now. Anyway, Together, the three of us will be diving into the recesses of anime history to bring you a forgotten classic. Tonight, we will be discussing the 2004 series from Studio Gonzo and director Mahiro Maeda, Gankutsuou, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yay! I'm so excited! But you
I
people
am
listening have
so
no
excited.
idea how, this is one of those series that I feel like a lot of people who came to know anime in the same time period that like Steph and myself did kind of grew up with this series. It was like one of the first ones where like, oh, anime isn't just Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. It can be like mature and complex and really intriguing as well.
And this was, I will say, I've done my fair bit of like going through the backlogs either on my own time. I've got a fair bit of going through the backlogs either on my own time or even through this podcast, just getting to explore stuff that I also just never got a chance to check out. This was one of the ones that missed me by, that I was vaguely aware of. I think I remember I saw Arcana talked about it on like a top 25 to watch like a decade ago.
We're gonna talk about all of that stuff in a second, because this is a classics episode, and we also, so that means we usually give like a background and experience beforehand. But let's get through just a couple of things first, because y'all, since I'm going to assume that maybe 80% of the audience has never heard of this show before, so
Shame
because
on
of
them.
that,
Just tisk.
not their fault. But if you have not heard of this story before, here's a quick little summary. Albert is a young man of privilege in Paris, but the trappings of his aristocratic birth leave him bored and unsatisfied. Seeking adventure, Albert's restless spirit leads him to a festival on the moon and to the Count of Monte Cristo. An enigmatic man of charm and wealth, the Count of Monte Cristo's charisma and sophistication captivate Albert. The fascinated youth invites the nobleman to mingle with the upper echelons of Parisian society, and the Count is soon courting the favor of France's most powerful families. Little does Albert know, as his new friend walks the ornate halls of the highest class, the Count of Monte Cristo wants only to bring them crashing down through revenge. If you are not familiar with this anime, you might be familiar with the original material, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas.
I believe
this is an adaptation.
I
did?
No, it's actually pronounced Alexandre Dumas.
Noah!
Why did you say that? Why did you say that like a Midwestern trucker?
It's a reference to the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh my god.
Fuck. Oh, man. It's been a minute since I watched The Shawshank Redemption.
That's a good-ass movie.
It is a good-ass movie.
That may be where a lot of people actually did first hear about this if they hadn't read it before, because although there are quite a few film adaptations of the novel itself, they're not really suited towards like the average movie watcher, I don't feel like.
Yeah. No, I would think so. But yeah, this Gankutsuou here is an adaptation of the famous classic novel by Alexandre Dumas of The Count of Monte Cristo.
I will say, for transparency's sake, I have never read The Count of Monte Cristo.
I have not. I own it now, though. I need to fix this.
I had no knowledge of the original story. My biggest knowledge was the fact that the character Edmond Dantes is in the game Fate Grand Order, and his character designer in Fate Grand Order was the Danganronpa guy.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah, isn't that... doesn't that just look like Komida?
That's just fucking Komida! Please send that to... Oh my god. Please send that to Noah right now.
Language being spoken here, I don't know. Like, I don't know Fate Grand Order. Or anything of that sort.
Do you know... You don't know Danganronpa either, I'm assuming, right?
I only know of the... I know the premise, and I'm very familiar with Mono Bear and the stuffed... character version of it that you got, you or Megan got at a con many years ago.
I have him.
The fact that you called him Mono Bear bugs me.
It's Monokuma. It's Monokuma.
They specifically were like, you are going to call him Monokuma.
But anyway,
I still call it Bunny Drop, okay?
Fair enough. Alright, as always, we're going to be discussing the show from beginning to its dramatic conclusion, all while chatting about the English dub, including the casting, performances, and our overall thoughts on the English dub as a whole. Kind of already we alluded to this a little bit. Before we get too far into this, given that this is a classic, something that we usually try and do it with the classics episodes is we have a mix of opinions and experiences with the show, whether it is you have seen the show multiple times, a few times, or have never seen it at all. So before we kind of get in, I kind of want to talk about a brief history of our experiences with the show. I'm gonna have Andrew go first because he's the one who has never seen the show before. This is actually his first time watching it.
Oh, I've already said as such. My biggest experience was the fact that I knew Edmond Dantes was a character in Fate Grand Order designed by the Danganronpa guy.
To which he just posted it in the Discord for Noah to see as well.
I am looking at that now. I see the overlap in character designs there, absolutely.
Anyways, that's what I knew. So, like, when they mentioned Edmond Dantes, I was like, instead of being like, oh, who's that? I was like, oh yeah, that's probably the Count. It's kind of like one of those, it's less about, is Superman Clark Kent, and it's more about why is Superman Clark Kent.
Pretty much.
Or I guess, in this case, Batman, or... think of superhero, supervillain, revenge tale... as old as time. So
Batman comes pretty close, I would think. Is the closest equivalent if you want to go comic book heroes.
Yes, basically, I get the feeling people would probably root for Edmond Dantes in a modern context, and there is a reason why you would want to root for that character, but there also is a bit of, like, the sadness of the tragedy of you have devoted your life and your entire being to this revenge, and how that's self-destructive and going to tear you out inside out.
Yeah, pretty much.
More on that later.
There's quite a bit of modern interpretations are like, when you watch it, how long were you cheering for the Count, and at what point did his actions, justified as they may be, become too much for you to root for?
It's that ethical, moral dilemma.
That it is.
It is. Noah, Noah, you and I have seen this show a few times before.
Oh, plenty of times,
but
yes.
I would love to know your experience and your history with this show in particular, though.
Absolutely. It's a show that I saw back in college, recommended by another older internet reviewer person, Jacob Chapman, which is where I first heard about it. Having since seen it, I have actually read the novel, picking up the copy from the Wordsworth Classics version, which was actually published just a few years before this anime came out. I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure if there was like a particular reason why they picked this, but I do know that at the time, Gonzo was really big on adapting classic literature into bold experimental anime in this time period. We got adaptations of Romeo and Juliet. We got adaptations of Moby Dick. We got a Samurai 7 adaptation with robots. There were quite
Hold up. What was the Moby Dick adaptation?
It was Osamu Denzaki adaptation. It was called like Hakugai or something like that. I have to.
Oh, okay. I never heard of that.
ADV put it out. It used to be like something you'd see in like every Right Stuff sale. It was like this big brick that they were just trying to sell back copies of.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and it was Space Whales before Summer Wars and Boy and the Beast came out.
Well, there you go.
My knowledge of this is like I got really into it, and I really enjoyed reading the novel version of it later. Which I will try to sprinkle throughout this discussion any insights that I have into how they changed the novel into the anime. Just because it's really fascinating. The thing I will just mention before we start is that this novel was originally released not as a book, but like a lot of 19th century classic literature, as a serial. It was released like one chapter at a time in magazine prints, because there was a big push for selling magazine subscriptions to people. And at the time, it wasn't just about publishing the news of the day. It also came with featurettes, like chapters of novels. And not all of those went on to become classic literature. There's a lot of forgotten authors who made their name in the pages of serial literature. But ones like Alexander Dumas and probably the most well-known Charles Dickens were.
Yes.
So honestly, this story was absolutely primed to be turned into an anime, which is also a serialized medium. So
it works out nicely.
Yes, it was.
It works out nicely. As for me and my little history, similar to Noah, I kind of ran in the same circles when I was in college, and I was introduced to this series also by Jacob Chapman, who at the time as Yezu Otaku. When he put out what was it? It was the villains list. It was like
the
what?
Top 20 most deliciously evil villains.
Yes. Yep. So, because of Jacob Chapman, I got introduced to the following 4 shows.
Oh.
Gankutsuou.
Good.
Speed Grapher.
Okay.
That was a trip in of itself, and I did buy it. Last Exile.
Decent little show.
And my all-time little favorite, a little ditty called Monster.
All right.
Yep. And then for me, like, when I was a junior in college, I finally had, like, a part-time job. Gankutsuou was one of the first home video releases that I tangibly bought with physical money. It was, like, I think it was Gankutsuou, Last Exile, Trigun were the first 3, all in one go. And they all share one voice as the lead character as well, which is hilarious.
Don't they?
I remember sitting there I remember sitting there one day and I look at all three, I'm like, cool, I'm starting to get some anime now. And then as I'm looking, I'm realizing, I'm like, shit, all of these star Johnny Young Bosch!
He was the voice actor's little go-to man at the time, wasn't he? At
He
least if you
was,
were on the
he
West
was.
Coast.
He was the guy for a long time.
Certainly was.
There was a term that they I know they mentioned this in the Lucky Star DVD. They mentioned the It Girl, which is like a term for the anime voice actress who gets like cast in a lot of things very like in the same year. I guess there was also an It Guy too, because there were periods where like,
that's...
Yeah.
That is 100% Johnny. That is 100% Johnny. But yeah, no, that's my quick little history. But in terms of how this episode came to be, this one has been a long one in the making, guys. We were just talking about this before we started recording. So, we originally were going to do this episode, I think, like, maybe 8 or 9 years ago.
Back in the before times.
Yep, and it just kind of never came into fruition. But finally, I'm just sitting here one day, and I'm like, you know what? It's fucking time. It's fucking time to talk about Gankutsuou.
The fact that I was, like, the perfect guinea pig that she could force to make and like, it's not only that she could make me watch it, it's that she could vicariously live the experience of watching it for the first time again through me.
I had this with Paranoid Agent with you as well.
Yes.
It's fun to, like, introduce him to shows that I've seen, that he hasn't, and I could just, like, watch his reactions to them for the first time all over again. It's a very interesting experience, for sure.
That's always initiating new people. So we were absolutely going to cover this at some point. All we had to do was bide our time and hold out hope.
Ah!
Segue!
Thank you for that. Segue! Alright. I think with all that being said, why don't we get started about talking about this show? How's it sound to you guys?
Sounds like a plan.
Let's fry it up.
Beautiful. Alright, we're going to start as always, of course, with our ADR staff. We're going to particularly talk about our ADR director and our scriptwriter. This is very easy because we have someone who just went and pulled double duty on this one. We have the one and only Tony Oliver, who is acting as both the ADR director and the writer for this show. Tony has also pulled double duty for series such as Eureka 7, Fate Zero, and Andrew's ever-so-favorite show, Charlotte.
Speaking of shows that have been in the backlog to do for a while.
Literally. I thought we were here to have a good time.
Because Noah's also here, and we can remind you that we need to subject you to the English dub of Charlotte.
Fucking... Alright.
Speaking of episodes that have been in the back burner for a long time.
But we're going to talk about a good show this time.
We're talking about a good show today.
Okay.
I just had to torment you for like 2 seconds because I love you.
I respect you, you bitch.
That covers a good point, though, is the fact that Tony Oliver directed both double duty on this show and more modern shows, which I know Charlotte is like 10 years old at this point, but still, he's been in the business for a while, and it's continued to be in, regular demand for both directing and writing anime adaptations.
Like, he's probably mid late 60s at this point. He's no stranger to this industry. He's very much no stranger to this show.
No.
We are all big fans of his work in particular, and it's kind of interesting going back to his older work, covering a lot of his newer stuff, and realizing, no, this man's always been good. This man's always been good at what the fuck he does.
Like, this show in particular there's a lot going on with this show. A lot of it comes down to how Gonzo adapted it from the original novel. And Noah, I'm assuming for the most part, Gonzo adapted it fairly faithfully to the novel. Yes. For the most part.
Yes,
I know there was a couple of changes.
There were aliens
I was gonna say there's probably not aliens, and I imagine a full suit of armor is not a 20-foot mech.
But in terms of plot elements, though, I think my understanding is, and Noah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the two biggest changes that Gonzo made to the story was one, of course, being the entity known as Gankutsuou, and two, the perspective of who this story is told through. Because my understanding is the novel is told through the Count, aka Edmond Dantes, but here we have it through Albert de Morserf. Is that correct?
That is correct. The novel is not told from first person or anything. Like, we do not hear the thoughts of Edmond Dantes in his internal monologue, but we follow it because he is the point of view character throughout the entire novel. So we see not only his upbringing, how he was betrayed, his time in prison, how he escaped, how he came across, like, all the plot details are told from his perspective in chronological order, which is another big change that they made, which is we learn all that backstory at the very beginning of the book. It's basically broken into 3 sections. It's the Edmond Dantes time period is the main section. The middle section is basically where the anime starts, which is the stuff on Luna, which was actually Rome in the novel. All the stuff getting to learn about the lives of the characters that are basically the children of the characters we met at the beginning of the story. And then the last third of it, which is the execution of the revenge, as it were.
Okay.
I think that's actually really interesting.
Yep.
Because it is interesting to kind of introduce him as a mysterious figure to understand later.
Yes.
Where you're like, there's something off about him, but following Albert, making the choice to follow Albert as, like, the sort of rich kid that's trying to figure out what he wants to do and where he wants to go in life, basically through happenstance coming across this mysterious figure known as the Count of Monte Cristo.
I feel like in terms of how Gonzo adapted the show, I think they did it in a smart way because they could, if they really wanted to, go full faithful to the novel. They would have started from the very beginning. But the fact that they plopped us right into the middle of it and they made the Count this much more, like you said, mysterious figure as he is, I think adds to the intrigue and the drama and the mystery of it.
Plus, I think putting you in the POV perspective of Albert, who is effectively a character who knows nothing, effectively starts the series innocent, naive to a fault.
He is so naive to everything.
And then you basically slowly force him to grow up as he learns all of the skeletons in the closet, all of the people closest to him, all of the betrayals, all of the allegiances,
It's also the most appropriate that the POV of that is the point of view from Albert, considering who his father is in relation to Edmond Dantes and his story as the man who basically stole the woman he loved.
Yeah, it wouldn't work at all if, like, the main character was, like, one of the reporter characters who is learning about this along the way from a bit of an outsider perspective. We absolutely needed someone who has an emotional investment in what's going on. And that, again, that is also retained, like, the events are pretty much retained exactly from the novel. And so the dub, like the actual adaptation of the script and the acting here, does not have the usual problem of having a lot of Japanese imagery or colloquialisms to really contend with, because they are trying to retain the very Eurocentric world that this is. It's a space version of it, but it's still...
I was gonna say, I would argue them saying it's not a very typical anime aesthetic, because, like, it's not even really typical as an American aesthetic or European aesthetic.
At the same time, some of the aesthetics of the art and the animation for the show you can also equate to, because you could see it at different points, like the separation of wealth and power, right? Like, you have the aristocracy in, like, more of the bright colors, the golds, the royal blues, these kinds of colors, and then you kind of get to the common folk, which is more of, like, the muted tones and the darker tones. So,
true. From
an animation standpoint as well, even though it seems extravagant as fuck, it has a purpose, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that's the kind of style that they were certainly experimenting with art style at the time. But you're right; it's a visual signifier of the world that they live in. It's not just there to razzle dazzle you. Despite the fact that the styling of the character's clothing, where it's like
that's always been an interesting.
I gotta say, as somebody who has recently watched a couple of, like, old timey, like, Gonzo anime, like, in recent years, like I like a couple months ago I watched Last Exile, for example, for the first time, and then watching this, even from, like, the mid 2000s. Hyper CG experimental Gonzo style. This is unique all its own because of the art design aesthetic being a lot more surreal and vibrant even outside of the CG. The art direction and designs are fucking insane start to finish.
Yes.
They certainly put all their
100%.
time and efforts into that, because you'll notice probably...
Hey, what if the moon just had a skull on it?
What if the moon was just a skull face?
You can't... They need whalers on the moon, so obviously there's going to be a skull on there, clearly.
It's true.
But the characters don't move as much. Like, they clearly put all the effort into the designs and the looks and the CGI portions of it, but the actual character... There's not a whole lot of, Sakuga, Kyoto Annie style movement in the characters. They move very simply.
Okay, look. It doesn't need to be a series that moves that hard. You just need to have the characters that know how to... Noah, do you want to learn a new term today?
Oh,
Well,
boy.
of course, Professor Andrew. Teach me.
Noah, do you know what aura farming is?
Oh, god damn it!
That's the thing where you go to Yankee Candle and buy a bunch of auras in Central.
Oh, you are so fucking wrong, my
you
child.
just need to effectively look cool, look badass, and just kind of like stand there like, yeah, I kick ass, I fuck, I do what I gotta do, I take names, I kick ass, I chew bubble gum. That's what aura farming is. What I'm saying is, this series needs to make it that the Count of Monte Cristo is aura farming at all times.
I mean,
The Count is aura farming at all times, you're right!
And it's true, the Count absolutely fucks. Like, the Count fucks hard. So that's a good description. There is, there's nothing, nothing we couldn't say about the visuals. I'm sure that anyone who's even seen a trailer of it wouldn't already know. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm trying to keep on the topics of the dub itself. Like, what did Tony
Yes.
Oliver do? What did he change? He made
A good job.
He did a good job. Yes, he did. No one has a French accent. Like, no one is even trying to be... Like, almost no one, I don't think, has anything resembling a European accent. They're all Americanized.
Right.
So that's one thing. The second thing is the character that we will talk about of Gankutsuou. In the Japanese, he spoke French. Like, we knew that he was a different entity because even though the main character was speaking Japanese, the monstrous Gankutsuou spoke entirely in French. And they didn't keep that in this adaptation, in the English dub.
That's an interesting choice. So I've never watched the Japanese.
Okay.
Go figure. So that's I can see that, and I can see why Japan went with that choice. I can also see why the justification would be to not do that in the American version, the North American, like the English dub.
Mm-hmm.
Like they still want to make Gankutsuou an enigmatic entity of sorts. But if it's not feasibly possible to do that in French, I can understand wanting to make it more accessible for the English listener. Because Lord knows our attention spans nowadays can be shit. I can only imagine how bad our attention spans in the mid-2000s were. Like, like they're awful now, but like I can imagine our attention spans were not great back then.
We were still living in a pre-TikTok Vine world. I don't think that our attention spans were that bad necessarily. We still had to wait 10 minutes for a YouTube video to load.
We were on the cusp of YouTube, though. So that was the beginning. Anyway, I think the only thing that I found with the direction of the show, or this is more of a note of the overall dub itself, really, you can kind of see its age a little bit. You can kind of see that it has aged. There are some performances that are a little rough at times or a little bit stilted. However, I still feel like overall, in terms of the directing and writing, it still has this like timeless feel to it. And I think given that it's an adaptation of this classic novel, I feel like that's also kind of the point and what they were going for. So I think they accomplished what they had set out to do in that regard.
I think it does a good job basically establishing what is a lot more of the stage experience of all these voice actors, is that this feels like a very theatrical piece start to finish.
Yes.
Just from the way characters are acting, from the way they're mogging on screen, from the way they're delivering their delicious soliloquies.
Yes. Yes. And they're just scene-stealing, hammy-chewing performances. There's a lot of, like, scene-stealing performances in this show. I'm not even kidding, and it's so fun. And this show has always been and will always be one of my absolute favorite performances from one of the actors in this show. Andrew already knows who it is, but Noah can probably hazard a guess as to who that might be.
There's quite a few great standout performances in here. And it's very interesting that although all the characters sound distinct, like I applaud the casting director for casting actors who have different pitches to match the different types of character sounds. Eloquence is a good way to put it, because there's a pretty regal way that most of the characters hold themselves. Like, no one is speaking in super vernacular speech. Everyone kind of has a very put together, aristocratic way of speaking, even if they're not aristocratic themselves. Like, there's a soldier character who we're going to talk about who still speaks with this, like, carries himself with the same grandiosity as his noble peers. There are people who are adults who speak, I suppose, just as eloquently as some of the younger characters. It's it's pretty level across the board on that regard.
Yeah, 100%. Do we have any other thoughts on the directing and writing of the dub before we want to move on to our characters?
Just to commend them, because this the first volume of this came out in English in late 2005. So I feel like even at that time there was a very much a disbelief that English dubs could be as good as English, even though we had clearly seen examples counter to that by this point. This was certainly in that wave of showing that quality work could be coming out that was just as good as the Japanese for home video. It didn't even have to be just for television, because to my knowledge, this has never had an American television premiere.
As far as I'm aware of, it has not. Which, it'd be an interesting and probably a hard sell to try and, like, put this on, like, actual network television.
No, this
it'd be
go to
interesting
PBS.
And hard sell.
No, this would go to the
Masterpiece
Theater crowd.
I don't see that. I don't see
Maybe.
that.
I mean, a little sarcastic, but I mean, of the options, that's the only place I can think of. You're right. It wouldn't be. This wouldn't be.
Why did he throw the glove and then get in a robot? That's why. I'm
he's dueling him, Andrew, and
but nobody has armor. But where are their Duel Monsters cards and their duel discs? I don't understand.
Where's the Blue Eyes White Dragon?
Exodia, finish him. Oh God, I hate you both. Oh.
No, you don't.
Shit.
Good
All right.
Good dub.
It's good.
Good dub.
Yes.
Good done.
Yes, I think it's like it still holds up even now, like 20 years later, like for realsies. Again, it's still a little rough on edges, but it still has this timeless and eloquent feel to it, and I think it holds up very nicely. Okay, there are a lot of fucking characters in this show, and
there are fucking characters.
This is also true. You're correct. We are going to have one of them in this first group, unfortunately. The biggest bastard of the whole show. Exactly. So, it took a minute to narrow all these characters down. And we have, I think, 4 groups total. We did make some cuts as much as we can to some characters and performances due to either time constraints or they just didn't have enough to really justify. But I think, and I've explained this to the boys, I think the game plan is we're going to go through these characters, introduce them and who's portraying them, as well as credits, and then I kind of just want to have a general discussion of performances. If we don't get to hit everybody in each section, then I apologize in advance, because there's just a lot to go through with these characters. So the first set of characters we're going to be discussing, effectively would be the Count of Monte Cristo's crew. We have quite a few individuals involved that serve or assist the Count in many, many ways. We have Miss Here Tebelin. She is a princess from Janina, who who was bought out by the Count because she was sold to slavery by Albert's dad, because Albert's dad's a dick, and murdered her father. It's a whole ordeal.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
It's a whole thing.
They don't sugarcoat the slavery thing either, so I'm kind of glad they didn't sugarcoat that in this adaptation.
No, they do not. We also have Peppo. Peppo we were originally introduced in the beginning of the series as part of a assassin mercenary group. But then when we get to Paris, Peppo's a boy, ladies and gentlemen, and we love him. Peppo works as a maid for the Morserf household. We have... I'm going to skip him for a second. We have Bertuccio and Baptistin, who are effectively the Count's right-hand men.
And right and left-hand men.
Right and left-hand men. And help the Count enact his revenge. Now I gotta go back to this bitch. Andrea Cavalcanti. He is introduced about halfway through the show as this wealthy marquis and is trying to weasel his way into the Danglars family, but we kind of find out that he's the bastard child of the Honorable Judge Villefort and Baroness Victoria Danglars.
You will notice
and
there's this
and there is a plot where Cavalcanti is trying to marry his half-sister.
Okay, so
he's a bitch.
Okay, so you said his name was Cavalcante, yes? I need to correct you.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually Cavalcanti. Because I gotta be real with you.
Oh no.
This is one of the cuntiest motherfuckers I've ever seen in an anime.
It's fucking glorious.
I literally every time I see him on screen, I'm not even like, you're a bastard, you're an asshole.
You're
no,
just a cunt.
I call him a cunt, I call him a whore, I call him a slut. Like,
the amount of times he kept calling Andrea a whore and a slut, I should have done like a tally. I'm not kidding.
It was a couple of times.
It was a bit.
For all the absurd things that was going on in the show, like, this dude's on screen for like an episode, and he's basically just going to Albert, and he's just like, ha 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 ha, little bitch baby Albert, look at you pissing your pee-pee diapers, look at you, I'm gonna fuck your girl. Who cares? I'm rich.
Who cares
my
if she's
penis is so big.
Who cares if she's my half-sister?
Oh, that makes it hotter!
We're not like those cowards. This is not a stepsister sibling. We actually went there.
Oh no! Oh my
This is how you knew it was going to be adapted into an anime at one point.
It's only hot if they come from the same womb, says Andrea Cavalcanti.
But they did come from the same womb!
Yes, they did!
They have the same mother!
Yeah, that's why he got off to it.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
He got off to that and his mother.
He did get off on it!
No. Bearing the lead on that one.
Anyway.
I'm just surprised how they got that past the television. Like it's not explicit for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
It's not
explicit, but
it's
not ambiguous either.
No, it's the suspension of disbelief. You didn't really need to think that hard.
He missed his first apartment. It was very cozy in there.
Oh no!
Who voices all these great characters?
There's one. Hold on. There's one more we gotta talk about real quick.
Yeah.
It's our narrator. He is exactly who you think it is. It is the narrator. There are spoilers involved with this gentleman. And who he actually is. We'll get to that in a minute. The individuals voicing these characters. Another fun fact about Gankutsuou, there was a lot of fucking aliases used for this show. It has been over 20 years now.
It was the 2000s LAC.
It's been over 20 years. We are going to credit them by their aliases, but since it's been 20 years and it's well known who these folks are at the stage, we are going to let y'all know who it actually is as well. So that's the voice of Here, under the alias of Jennifer Sakaguchi, we have Stephanie Shea. She has voiced characters such as Sailor Moon in the Viz Media dub of Sailor Moon, Ereka in Eureka 7, and Mikaru Asahina in Haruhi Suzumiya. As Peppa, we have Carrie Savage. She has voiced characters such as Raka in Haibane Renmei. That's another show I would love to do at some point, as an FYI. Lua Klein in Bakano, and Moromi in Paranoid Agent. I'm coming back to Cavalcanti, hold on. Bertuccio is voiced by Bo Billingsley, who under the alias of Jack Daniels. He's voiced characters such as Ogremon in Digimon, Jet Black in Bebop, and I in Naruto. Under the alias of Sean Roberts is Kirk Thornton. For Baptiste, characters that he has portrayed include Masami Eri in Serial Experiments Lane, Jean in Samurai Champloo, and Don Patch in Bo. Andrea Cavalcanti. Oh, Jesus Christ. We have Liam O'Brien, who has voiced characters such as Vincent Law in Ergo Proxy, Gaara in the Naruto franchise, and Dr. Kenzo Tenma in Monster Because It's Me and I have to include it. Our narrator is voiced by Richard Epcar, who has voiced characters such as Bato in Ghost in a Shell Standalone Complex, Daisuke Jigen in a majority of the Lupin the Third franchise, and Lori Takarada in Skip Beat. I may as well address the narrator right now. Huge fucking spoilers. The narrator is Gankutsuou itself.
Like, she was literally having me guess the entire time, who do I think the narrator is? And I spent a lot of it trying to think, okay, that could be an older Albert, that could be, like, maybe, like, one of the servants of the Count. I was thinking maybe it was, like, their old captain when I learned a little bit about their ship stuff.
That's true.
And then, because I was like, that seems like a reasonable one. Then I guessed, okay, it's the literal entity inside of him because they imply that there is another entity living inside of the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
So I was like, that is just the other self.
Correct.
And if I didn't get that right, I would have guessed it was Ali.
Crackpot theory was Ali.
Very fitting. Like, you hear that voice and you look at the character design, like, oh yeah, those two go together. Low,
but
Richard Epcar, yeah, totally.
Like he doesn't get that much to do, but he opens every episode in a way that's very striking. It's like,
yes,
Madames
and Messieurs,
good evening. And like, once I started doing it myself, that's when I realized, shit, it got me.
Yep, it was. I think Rich's portrayal, sticking with just the narrator aspect, was very calm and very, like, regal and eloquent. That you can't help but, like, because he is the first thing you usually hear in each episode. You can't help but be drawn into that. But when you get to the points where we do get the reveal that, yes, he is actually, in fact, Gankutsuou, he becomes fucking... The eloquence and the calm and enthralling tone are still there, but there's a hint of, like, menace and malice underneath it as well.
I assume the biggest difference is that the entity of the original series is that this is a vampire. This is the person that turned Edmond Dantes into a vampire.
I don't know. Remember, Gankutsuou, in the original novel, there is no, like, separate entity.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's not supernatural. The novel is very
Correct.
rooted in reality. The origin of
Yes.
it was actually, like, inspired by something that actually happened. There was a man who was allegedly wrongly sent to prison by 3 vindictive friends. So, like, that has some roots in it. And when he finds he gets out of prison, like Edmond Dantes gets out. He's driven by revenge, yes. They just made that an actual entity in the show.
Okay.
They made it as an anime-only kind of...
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. My assumption was, like, that might have been, like, the vampire that turned him or something was what I was thinking it could have been. But in this, he's, like, an eldritch, like, elder being alien. Because, sure.
That's a good description.
That's not even that crazy compared to everything else the show throws at you, where by that point I'm like, yeah, Eldritch alien.
Yep.
Sure. That tracks.
Sure.
You're not wrong about
That's
the
where
whole
we're at.
vampire guessing, though, because there's an actual special feature on the Genion release, an interview with the anime director, where he was saying that part of the inspiration for the Count's design was to make him a mix of different gothic characters. Like, he's supposed to have the look of a Byronic hero, you know, the mopey personality, the long hair, that kind of thing. And also Dracula. Like, there's very clearly a vampire
that makes sense.
into this.
Oh yeah, the craziest thing is there are no actual vampires in this show. They're just aliens.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because, sure, I guess.
And that's Richard sells that really well. It's not only a haunting voice, like it's a great adaptation of the Japanese voice, which was very similarly low pitched. But it's the only time we get insight, almost the only time we get insight into Edmond Dantes's thoughts, because the entire shtick of his narration is to say, he says, like, my friend told me that he was concerned for the young man, but it will not stop his revenge.
I definitely do agree that the creative, like, adaptive decisions they made to the story of Monte Cristo makes the Count and Edmond Dantes a much more compelling, mysterious, and engaging character to follow the journey of what the hell his deal is. I think that was a very wise choice, and I'm glad to know that. And even knowing that Gankutsuou is like an anime-only thing, Richard Epcar does a really stellar job at selling that menace, that calmness, that evil, unknowing being. And I really like that.
And then not to be mean, but it also helps that it's contrasted by how we end every episode. We start with Gankutsuou's narration. How do we end every episode?
The optimism of Albert saying, bide your time and hold out hope.
That's right. As a preview of what's going to come in the next episode. So yeah, they work off each other very well as how to start and end each episode.
Noah, I have a question for you. You seem to have done a lot of reading and prep work for this episode of the original Count of Monte Cristo story.
It is literally holding my stack of papers on the desk next to me right now.
Okay, thank you. So, I feel like there's a bunch of these anime-ass characters throughout the entire show. I'm like, okay, what were they in the original novel? And I feel there's a couple of them, like, I would be curious to know what their original story interpretation was, but I feel like most of them I can kind of guess what their deal, what their original role could be.
I think I see where you're going with this.
What the fuck is Peppo in the original story?
That's a good question.
I had that same question too. That was one of the first things I was curious to
I need to know!
Because the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory, because, like, you could see Bertuccio and Baptistin as, like, right and left hand man for the Count.
Like his loyal servant and all that.
Cavalcanti,
I can believe as the fake aristocrat. That's just like a thing in a bunch of stories and whatnot.
Hede, I can believe as a princess for another
royal
country.
sold into slavery.
Yes.
What the fuck is Peppo?
Okay, Peppo is another adaptation of a character that did exist in the novel, but not nearly for as long as is in the anime. He is basically just introduced as as a man, like is not referred to as a woman trapped in a man's body, because we weren't really thinking in those terms in the 19th century. It's basically fits the same purpose as lures Albert away from the Rome festival to be abducted, basically. And in that sense, it's described as Peppo is described basically as a man in a dress. Not much more is really explained upon that. And they do not follow Albert back to Parisian society, and that's as far as it goes.
Okay.
So Peppo was just a one-time thing, and that was it. But Gonzo decided, let's keep Peppo around.
So
they did.
The character did exist as like.
It wasn't. It was
a
like
seductress.
Like he was like basically playing the guise of a femme fatale seductress.
Yes, that's a good way to describe
lure Albert away from it.
Playing up his naivete, absolutely. So they could have dropped the character if they wanted to in this adaptation, you know? But I'm glad they didn't.
I'll say this.
Fun character.
When I started the show, I will say my opinions of Peppo as a character were like, right. early 2000s gay and or trans panicky character. Don't think I care for that.
Deceptive characters, like,
okay, it's fucked up to, I'm not gonna say it, but it is effectively the archetype of, let's say, rhymes with Cap.
Yeah,
let's say rhymes with Cap. Let's go with that. Anyways,
insert clip from Return of the Jedi here, basically.
You stop that right now, young man. Okay. Anyways, that being said, Peppo's role in the story as kind of that chaotic, gendered character that is a little more complicated as, like, what their relationship, their appearance is. Like, I'll be real, like, Peppo, it kind of, like, messes with Albert, like, it works as, like, a character that kind of plays on his naivete or his ignorance of the world. Mm-hmm. Like, Peppo being, like, trolling him effectively about, like, the ways of the world, the ways of the hearts of his parents. I'll be real with you, I could believe Peppo was sucking off his father, and I would have believed that was just a story thing going on.
Oh, boy.
Like, that man is not free from sin. I would absolutely believe that he would take a femboy. Anyways,
okay, did not expect that. Alright.
But,
alright.
That being said, Peppo is a welcome, chaotic force in this story that I do enjoy their presence. And I am kind of surprised to find, oh no, wait, the feelings, you do actually have feelings for Albert. And you did want to help Albert get, like, his woman out of there. And you're just like, alright. Very strange... I'll say, how do I describe it? I will say the story started them out as maliciously queer problematic, mm-hmm. but then became a level of, like, you're a little confused, but your heart's in the right place. If that makes sense for what they were going with Peppo as a character.
You know, in a setting where all of the characters are very much looking out for just themselves and wreak havoc on those who get in their way, Peppo is a welcome change as a character who is just as willing to play the game, but is not just out for themselves. Like, it's definitely...
I do like the fact that the story becomes a little more positive and empathetic of Peppo as sort of like a queer but more positive character as the story goes on. Especially as it's queer that Gankutsuou's pretty gay.
We're gonna get some...
Gankutsuou is, like... Like, I was making jokes after a while. I was like, okay, that seems a little bit gay. But then as I'm watching the show, I'm like,
oh, no,
wait. No, this is pretty gay, actually.
With a capital G, absolutely.
Yep. It's there.
But what did you think of Carrie's performance as the character?
I liked Carrie as the little chaotic femboy fatale?
See, the thing is, they only make the one line is how we know that Peppo is a boy. That's the only one. Other than that, they are female presenting, basically, throughout the entire show.
I was gonna say, it's like, you're really rocking the aesthetic, and you're wearing, like, the maid outfit, and you're just kind of winging it. You're just kind of going for it. You're just like, whatever, it suits me, it fits me well.
I really like, you were kind of leading into it a little bit. For Carrie, I love her... I love the sass and the snark that she gives Peppo throughout the course of the show. Because like you were saying, Peppo basically fucks with Albert on a frequent basis. Yeah. Like, teases him, torments him, tells him basically, you don't know shit, buddy! Like, it's so funny, and Carrie leans into the snark and the sass that Peppo has, I think, very, very well.
Yeah, and it's a voice that no one else in the cast quite has. There's no other squeaky, high-pitched female characters quite in the cast like this. Certainly not one that has this impish persona like Peppo does. So yeah,
I will say
Carrie
they do feel very removed from the setting, but I think in a positive way that they are an outside observer of, like, Parisian aristocratic society.
Yes.
Which I do think at least does work, especially also just being as, like, queer presenting character that ended the story as a model. Like, hey, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, right. Like living the dream. Certainly not working with the seducing people and what's that thing in Odd Taxi where they have to steal guys and try to steal their money from them? What was that thing called again?
Theft?
No, it was
Grand.
fishing or something like that. I forget what they call it. It's not right.
Catfishing?
Catfishing.
Oh,
That's what
catfishing?
it was.
Oh, yeah.
Why did you go for Odd Taxi? Catfishing's like a thing.
Because that's the other anime. Andrew, I'm trying to connect the dots for our viewers here, like from one anime to another.
Okay.
But that is a good point on Carrie's performance. Contrasting that, I feel, with Stephanie Shea's portrayal as Heyday, which is a much more it's a more put together but very troubled individual who gets a wide range of performance. We get to see her as the sidekick character to the Count, as just playing the harp, and you're like, oh, she's going to be like the nice female character who is just there as a calming agent. Nope, she gets to go full on.
Nope.
I am here to avenge my father. Take me to the assembly, and I'm going to reveal your treacherous war crimes in front of all the country to see. Don't fuck with me.
Suck it, Fernand Montego. Suck it, Fernand Montego.
I do enjoy Stephanie Shea's performance as Heyday, because
Yes.
I do think that they are a good counterbalance. A
Counterpart?
good counterpart to the Count.
Yes.
I do think that there's that level of, like, she has that anger, she has that rage, she has that resentment, where she effectively gets to do what she's always wanted by getting to write the Google Doc about Fernand Montego.
Oh my god.
She gets what she wanted,
That's how
but
we're
she's
equating this.
but
Okay.
she's still not happy. She's still like, my father's dead, like, I still had that shit happen to me. I don't feel satisfied. I think I need to tell him to stop, because otherwise he's going to destroy himself and feel empty and miserable all the same.
100% I agree with that, because of the fact that with Heyday, when she gets to complete effectively her own revenge, and she does feel unsatisfied, she's like, I need to stop the Count from doing this so he doesn't feel like this. Like, he needs to be able to move on from his vengeance. So it's very, very interesting to see. And I do agree that Stephanie portrays that very, very well. Stephanie being, like, soft-spoken and just, again, very elegant, very regal, because Heyday is a princess from another planet. But, dude, she commanded the scene where she basically ratted Fernand out.
Oh, I love that. That was like you could tell, like, that was like a cathartic anger that was building up after all that time.
Yes.
But
To
I
be
do
fair,
think Heyday's a very interesting character that is really welcome in this setting as, like, effectively one of the people who has done genuinely no wrong.
I would agree with that. Like, she's honestly just a pawn, just like a lot of the other characters. Like,
Yes.
she's not told to go reveal the war crimes aforementioned. She does it of her own fruition, and it's exactly what the Count wanted to happen, but she didn't do it because he wanted her to. So that plays up the tragedy of her character, certainly. Although, to be fair, who just, like, invites a random person from the audience, like, yeah, come on upstage, you've got an endorsement for our character, we're not going to vet you, we're not going to screen you or anything, get on up here in front of the cameras. Oh, what's that? You've got a tragic backstory you want to share, and we can't cut this off? Well, shit.
Pretty much. Like, no, at the end of the day, no one is truly innocent in all this.
I think
And you can tell.
Bertuccio didn't do anything wrong. Actually,
Okay,
Bertuccio
fair. Bertuccio and Baptiste didn't exactly do anything wrong.
Baptiste just had a cool haircut, and Bertuccio genuinely was, like, one of, like, actually had the Count's best intentions in mind and heart.
He's super fucking loyal, that's for sure. No, you're right.
I apologize, I don't quite remember the backstory of the two characters from the novel. I know that they're...
That's okay.
I'm okay with that, because I feel like I got at least enough where it's like, I didn't need their whole story. I can at least believe they found each other and, like, he saved them, or they, like, stuck. Sometimes you just find a crew that's ride or die in the best way, and isn't gonna stab you in the back and throw you in space and steal your woman.
They are the Badger and Skinny Pete to the Count's Jesse Pinkman. Absolutely.
Oh my god.
I hate that I understand that reference now.
Only you. Well, not only you, but I know that for those listening, Andrew has recently finished Breaking Bad not too long ago.
Okay, no, I still have a few episodes left. I'm pretty far. Pretty far.
I still have not watched Breaking Bad, and I need to fix this. It's been on my list forever.
It's so nice getting to see the GIFs and being like, oh, right, that was a real scene.
I understand this now.
Alright, remember these
I understood that reference.
So remember these two when you get to the movie. When you get to El Camino, remember the ride or die phrasing for these two.
Okay, we'll get to that later. Anyways, I like Bo Billingsley and Kirk Thornton. They're good as these performances, and I really like these characters, and I want good things for them.
Yes. They do end up having good things for them, though.
There's a surprising amount of good things happening for a lot more of this cast than I expected by series end.
Yep.
I'll say
even
that.
For the ones who deserve a good, happy ending.
Yeah, because, I mean, by the end of it, you have Hede having returned to Johnny Na. She's about to be crowned as the queen, essentially. And then you have both Bertuccio and Baptistin serving as advisors and her right-hand men, basically. It's very fitting.
The only one I could think is the literal motherfucker became, like, an important politician, but, like, he was a noble motherfucker and not an incestuous cunty motherfucker, so I guess it's fine?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Anyways, we'll get to him later.
But
I really did like Stephanie Shea, and I did like the crew.
Okay. Do we want to address the cunt in the room now?
I want to address the cunt in the room! Okay! I fucking hate this man, but I adore how ridiculous he is.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, it almost kind of, I almost kind of do think by the end of it, he is kind of like a parody of, like, posh, pompous, like, rich asshole society.
Yeah.
Because he effectively is playing what he was thrown away and basically, like, tossed in the trash by. And he's like, okay, I gotta do this thing. I gotta fuck with the people that fucked me. Alright, cool.
Liam O'Brien chews the goddamn scenery till there's nothing left.
Poor little Albert! Doesn't even know where his girl is right now. Doesn't even know anything about anything going on. It's like, what if an Ojo-sama was like a shitlord? What if the Ojo-sama was like the reply guy on Twitter that's telling you well, actually, this came out in some...
No.
Like, I'm just imagining him as, like, all the things that make me mad.
Oh, God.
And, like, he embodies all of that while being like, ha 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 ha, you're such a little bitch, baby Albert. I'm gonna fuck your girl who's my half-sister.
I'm not sure.
You have a lot of feelings about Cavalcanti. Oh my god.
I don't know how to describe it. I could take most of this show and its cast and its drama relatively seriously. Mm-hmm. There's something about Cavalcanti that really just, like, activates this, like, disgust in my chest, but, like, my desire to, like, grab, like, a 6-pound bucket of popcorn and go to town. Like, there's something about Aldrea that activates my shit trash TV mode.
I love how he is no longer Cavalcanti to you. He's just Cavalcanti. Like, you're just calling him Cavalcanti right now.
He's such a little whore.
He is.
He's such a little bitch.
He is.
But, like, he is a delightful little slut that, like...
Run out of words to describe.
It's like, I don't want that twink obliterated. I want that twink nuked from the stratosphere. That's what I want.
That just means that Liam O'Brien did a great job.
That means Liam O'Brien did an incredible job.
Like, if the highest compliment you can give to someone is like, I want to nuke this character into fucking orbit, you've done good.
Also, yes, like, look, he does do problematic things.
Yes,
you
he
know,
does.
like attempted rape and fucking his mother, you know, as one did back then.
Mm-hmm. He almost married his half-sister, so...
Let's put it like this. This is a Shakespearean Greek tragedy of a series.
Yeah.
And, like, in any other story, this would be the Greek tragedy. Like, man has the quintessential Oedipus complex. But yeah.
I don't even think that qualifies. Like, his whole shtick is not, I am attracted to my mother. It's, I am going to fuck with the people who threw me away. Like, I've been treating you the way you treated me. And that's going to be by one.
And it is clear that there is, like, a criticism to the fact that, like, he hates what the society
Do you
is
actually know anything about Oedipus Rex, Andrew?
I've read the Oedipus, yeah.
Yeah, you know what you said was wrong, then.
I do know what I said was wrong. I know there's more of... What I'm saying is, it's more... Oh, anyways, whatever.
Well, I think it's fair that we don't really have another term for, like, someone who screws his mother other than Oedipus. Like, I know that it's a different context for that. That's just the one in pop culture that we have on hand.
That's fair.
The context is the tragedy that he knows all along, and he wants them to be disgusted and ashamed when it all comes out.
Yep. Pretty much. Sounds right.
And
that sounds right.
And it's not only just the scenes where he's outing Albert's bitchiness that is fun to watch. It's that whole courtroom scene where he, like, spits venom back at the entire Parisian society. Like, you hide behind those smiles. It makes me sick. You are just as bad as we are. Because
by this point we learn what Cavalcanti, or Benedetto, is his actual name. What he has been actually up to. He was rescued because his fucking birth dad buried his ass alive as a newborn baby, first of all.
I will say, I think my original assumption was the father gave him false charges because he wanted to bury him away. No, it's something worse. He tried burying the literal newborn baby.
Straight up infanticide.
And then he was rescued by a servant, was put into an orphanage, and then eventually...
And then he became a shit kid.
He became a shit kid. Because, what was it? He lied, he stole, he assaulted people, he murdered people, like...
And every bad thing you can think of, he did.
Oh, yeah. He was imprisoned when the Count rescued his ass.
And from the last scene in the show where we see him, he's still on the run, apparently, even after the show is concluded. He's still out there committing felony after felony.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing what he loves, and he's not living a happy life.
Well, hold on. Happy to everybody else's perspective. He could be just fucking over the moon right now.
He could be living his best life. Either way, he's still, like...
A bitch.
A bitch, slutty cunt man. Like, there's something about him that is so pompous and disgusting in a way that, like, I'm like, ooh, you're such a little bitch. I don't know what it is. I don't know why this character gives me the strongest reaction. There's just something about him, it's like, what's your fucking damage, guy?
A lot, actually.
Like, I understand he's got a lot of damage, but, like, he's been in the show for a minute. It's like, what's your beef with Albert? You're just like, you stupid bitch. I'm gonna fuck you.
If I could, armchair psychoanalyze the interpretation, it's that he goes after people, for the most part, who kind of deserve what they're getting. Like, no one deserves to be raped. Like, put that on the table. Eugenie did nothing wrong. She's not what I'm talking about. But everyone else kind of deserves the treatment that they're getting back. And, we got a song called Eat the Rich for a reason. This guy...
No! We are not putting Andrea Cavalcanti into the Eat the Rich party! I refuse!
That's not what he's doing!
He is not invited to the Communist Manifesto cookie meet!
No, I forgot about
How
that.
dare you! How dare you!
I gotta get brown sugar for that, that's right. No, you're right. There's cues of this. He's not invited. I agree to that. But
no,
still.
if we're going to behead the top, like the aristocrats, he's not invited. He's not invited because he's a little bitch. He's also a rapist. He's also an asshole. And also, I gotta say, he's just got bad vibes. He's just got bad vibes. His vibes are gonna ruin the Communist Party.
Well,
Cavalcanti did not pass the vibe check, ladies and gentlemen.
Cavalcanti did not pass the vibe check, and that's why he's not allowed to the Eat the Rich Communist Manifesto Party.
Considering who his parents were, who would actually segue us into the next section, I think that
Thank you.
what I could expect from him. You know,
Thank
garbage
you.
in,
Is there any other remaining thoughts on the Count's crew before we move on to the awful, awful parents?
I liked the crew as characters and performances. I love Andrea Liam O'Brien's performance. I think the character's just a huge cunt.
Liam, you did a good job, sir!
It's a stacked cast of excellent actors who would continue to go on to be in great performances, and I'm glad that we get to hear them in wonderful performances in this series.
Yes.
Do you think Liam ever embodied Cavalcanti into any of the Critical Role campaign characters?
I would say some qualities and traits. Not all of them, but maybe some of them.
Questions for my Critical Role friends for later.
We'll put that up on Patreon for later. Anyways.
There we go. Anyway, let's talk about some awful parents.
Yay!
Yay! So our next section is the horrendous parents, aka the three families who basically done Edmond Dantes dirty. We have the Morserfs, Fernand de Morserf and Mercedes de Morserf. We have the Danglars, Julien Danglars and Victoria Danglars, and the Villeforts, Gerard Villefort and Eloise Villefort.
Oh god.
Now, the Villeforts.
Every single
Gerard.
thing these characters said, it's terrible. I love
everyone's awful. The Villeforts, Gerard Villefort is a judge from the high courts. He's the one who ended up sentencing Edmond Dantes to prison for schemes and shenanigans. Julien Danglars kind of is the reason why this whole bullshit kicked off in the first place for Edmond Dantes. Because Edmond Dantes inherited a ship. He was gonna be captain of a vessel in his crew, and Danglars was working as the purser, and was embezzling money. And Edmond Dantes found out, and Danglars was like, "Bitch, I need you out of here." So he got him out of here. And Fernand de Morserf, or should I say Fernand de Montego, he was jealous of Edmond Dantes because Fernand was in love with Edmond's fiancée, Mercedes. So Fernand became part of this plot to get rid of Edmond Dantes and take Mercedes for himself, which he did. But Fernand became such very, very prominent with his military background, and he was running for president. Meanwhile, Danglars became so fucking rich because he is in charge of the biggest bank of all of France. So, in terms of who voices these characters, I'm going to start from the bottom. For the Villeforts, Gerard Villefort is voiced by the late great Tom Weiner under the alias of Abe Lasser. He has voiced characters such as Devimon in Digimon, Quint Yiden in Wolf's Rain, and Father Giuliano Coligi in Witch Hunter Robin. Eloise, his second wife, I should note, is voiced by Julianne Taylor, who's voiced characters such as Sophia Forrester in Last Exile, Tachikoma in Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and Taiga Fujimura in Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel. For the Danglars, for the Danglars. As Julian Danglar, we have Doug Stone, who has voiced characters such as Shigen Kishitani in Durarara, Gilbert in I did bring Fire Emblem in here. Gilbert in Fire Emblem 3 Houses and 3 Hopes. Dayaka Littner in the Gurren Lagann franchise. And for fucking shits and giggles, I put this cast list together at work. ANN wouldn't cooperate on my work computer, so I used BTVA for this shit. You want to know what one of the things that Doug Stone has fucking done?
What's he done?
Noah, have you ever heard of a film called Swan Princess?
The one with that was basically a Disney ripoff from Richard Rich's company?
Yes.
No, I've never heard of it.
So there's one of the little side characters, friends of Odette, is this turtle named Speed.
The one
Doug
who talks
Stone.
so slow is...
Doug Stone voices Speed in various Swan Princess sequels and direct-to-home video products.
I would not have guessed that. The two sound nothing
I didn't know this. I didn't know this either. Weird shit that I discovered. As for Fernand de Morcerf and Mercedes de Morcerf. Fernand de Morcerf, under the alias of Francis C. Cole, we have Paul St. Peter, who you would know as characters like Leomon and Wormmon in the Digimon franchise, Kurama, or the Nine-Tailed Fox in the Naruto franchise, as well as, it's relevant since I had recently talked about this, Detective Toshimi Konakawa in Paprika.
I knew you were going
to at some point I was going to. As Mercedes de Morcerf, under the alias of Mia Bradley, we have Karen Strassman, who has voiced characters such as Nemu in Haibane Renmei, Delphine Ericlea in Last Exile, and Nina Fortner in Monster, because I have to bring it back. Alright, boys.
But let's just point
How do
out
we
that
feel about these performances?
Mercedes is the only decent human being in this group here. She's the only one who really did not do anything wrong. Like she's
the only one who walks away from the story
of her own accord.
Effectively walks away of her story of her own accord, and is shot in the back for it.
Yep.
Unfortunately so. And Karen Strassman gets to... I keep talking about her in podcast episodes where she places mom's characters. But in this case, it's a good mom character. She's actually, regal, kind of put together, very soft-spoken, but gets to carry the heartbreak of remembering, oh yeah, I had this crush on this one guy, and he went away forever, and I've never stopped pining after him. So Mercedes' role in the show is basically to be the symbol of goodness that was just kind of unintentionally sucked into this conspiracy because she had nowhere else to go, I guess. So props on Karen's portrayal there and keeping it together throughout the entire series.
I have a question for you. I know this is like mid-2000s and they probably weren't trying to go for like authentic casting and all that. There's something about the way the Morserfs are portrayed. Of course, they're literally. I was gonna say they seem very like Hispanic and Latino, and I'm like, their name's Montego. They like the father literally has a Spanish guitar as his theme, so it's like it feels like I think there's a little bit of that.
You could also argue Edmond Dantes to an extent as well, actually.
I think that a little bit of that as well. Yeah.
I think that's more of a product of the region they're from.
I think
because they are from a completely different region of Marseille compared to Paris.
That is probably a little closer of what it actually is. It's a little more of like French peasants and stuff like that. Yes. But there's just something about like the aesthetic presentation of them that my brain thinks like Latino, Hispanic, and all that.
That's a fair assessment.
Which I guess is why it's kind of surprising that like Albert is like fucking milk and white bread. I'm like,
he hasn't gotten out of the sun very often. Spending too much time on the moon.
No.
Like,
he hasn't had a hard day's work of labor in his entire life.
I was like, the second that boy came out, there was no color left in that printer.
You bring up a good point. Like, if they
Jesus.
were casting this today, like if they were to remake Gankutsuou, and we can't say they won't because there's no anime they won't remake in the 20s.
There is no way we are ever getting another Gankutsuou anime. We might get a modernized take on Monte Cristo,
But not another Gankutsuou.
not another Gankutsuou ever.
Fair enough.
I didn't think we were going to get a remake of Magic Knight Rayearth, but look what happened.
The source material is not a public domain book, now is it?
Not to my knowledge. I can't imagine
Anyways.
Clamp would have given up those rights.
Sorry, go back to your point.
The point is if they were to cast this nowadays, they probably would reach out for actors who shared the background of the characters themselves, perhaps. But I don't hold that against this particular cast.
I'm not holding that against like a show from 2004. I just think it's like an interesting little visual motif about them. But I will give credit where it's due. It's like I do think Karen Strassman does a great job as Mercedes, and I do like the fact that she kind of goes from being like the kind of quiet, mousy woman to effectively becoming her own person, where it's like, I can move on past you. I was in love with Edmund, but I stuck by you. I stuck by you for the man that you were, not the man you have become.
Yeah, and to an extent, you also have to remember, Mercedes is under the impression that Edmund Dantes died years ago. Mm-hmm. What she didn't know is that he was imprisoned instead.
And it was because of the man that would be her would-be lover.
Correct. So there's a lot of extra things, and Mercedes, I think, to an extent, has this sense of... It's a mix of guilt with what happened for Edmund, but also a sense of anger towards Fernand to as well. And I think all of those culminate together to, I think, the highest, like, the climactic moment for Karen's performance is definitely when she encounters Fernand as he's starting his random fucking coup in Paris.
He's basically mad with power, and he's
Correct.
like, I'm gonna take over. I'm doing this all for you, baby. You and the boy, it's all for you.
And she's like, nope, I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
I can't do this anymore. Like, I love you. I appreciate everything that we've had together, but I can't do this anymore. And she starts to leave, and then Fernand's like, bitch, you ain't leaving, and shoots her.
I will say the only thing I didn't like with the end of Montego with the story is that I almost felt like his end was too dignified in the regards that, like, he's like, please don't hurt my boy! You literally shot your boy.
Yeah.
You literally shot your boy and your wife. Because you're like, well, if I can't go out, I can't... He literally shoots his wife and son, and he's like, I can't believe the Count did this to me.
I'll get that kid back in there. And it's true. The other two we'll talk about in a bit got a much more almost divine comedy style upbringing for their crimes.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, you have the judge who is basically, like, made into, like, a mad... basically thrown in the insane asylum, and then you have the bank. God, the fucking way that Julian Donglees goes out is so. Trust me, if you have been to my Eat the Rich cookie parties, you understand that I'm a little bit of the fuck the capitalist pig motherfuckers out there. So Julian literally getting thrown in space with all this gold and like going mad and nothing to spend it on. Perfect. Perfect.
And then you just get the shot of him just naked swimming all these gold bars.
Naked fucking his money.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, we could have used that gold to feed the poor, but I suppose if we're not going to feed the poor, we may as well use it to drive a crazy guy even crazier.
I find Doug Stone's portrayal of Baron Danglars also interesting because Danglars puts a value or a dollar amount on everything, whether it is physical objects or whether it is people, including his own daughter. Including
his own wife. Mm-hmm. He literally thinks, I will make more money today if I let this kid fuck my wife so I could focus on my stocks.
Yeah, and maybe this kid also has some extra little tidbits that I could use to get more money.
What are you saying, Noah?
It's a good thing we don't have anyone like that nowadays. We've completely gotten rid of hyper-capitalist mentalities like that. Thank God for that.
And, like, they're so gross. Like, Julian Donglese is, like, comical, but, like, this is... I believe Julian Donglese could be a real capitalist shitlord motherfucker. And that's why, when he gets his comeuppance in space, like, that was probably the one I was like, yeah! Yeah, bitch! Yeah, bitch!
You were just waiting for Don.
I was like, you're gonna get it! I literally, like, see the shit he's doing to Eugenie and, like, his family, and I'm like, oh, I want you dead now.
Mm-hmm.
The part I've definitely rewatched myself, like, the most, like, I go back to the clip is, when his stocks are failing, like, that whole sequence of everything is going down, he can't stop the price from dropping, everything's going red, and just, Michelle! It's a great scene.
Michelle. No, but I think, like, Doug Stone does very well being this, like slimy, smarmy, like, all business, no... I'm about to say pleasure, but his pleasure is in his money and his business, so that's also incorrect.
I just got it. I just got what Doug Stone's Julian performance makes me think of.
Okay, go ahead.
Sleazy porn director.
Oh my god! You know?
It's certainly
Holy
sleazier than the Japanese. Like, the Japanese Seiyu was a bit more lower voiced, a bit more. I think it was trying to play up the heavier body build that he has, because he's a little fatter than the other characters. But yeah, the English portrayal, Doug's portrayal, makes it a bit of a higher pitched voice that. Yeah, sleaze. Sleaze is a very good way to put it.
Like,
I've
like sleazy porn director is like my visual motif for it, because there's like I was joking about like him. Yeah, no, I got things to do. You go in there and fuck my wife, little man. It's all good.
Speaking of his wife Victoria, I realized I never mentioned Two Voices Victoria. Because we got caught up with Swan Princess, and then I went back up to Fernand and Mercedes. Victoria...
I was gonna say, if you want, you could just fix that in post.
I'm just gonna say it now.
Okay.
Victoria Donglar is voiced by Mari Devon under the alias of Jane Allen. She has voiced other characters such as Summer Gleason in Batman the Animated Series, Renamon in Digimon Tamers, and Katsuya in the Naruto franchise. I am so sorry.
I just realized that the Count has either flirted or fornicated with all of the women in this section.
Yeah. Yeah, he has. You're correct.
I don't think they're complaining.
No.
One of them literally went mad with... Literally got, like, the best dick of her life and is like, I'm gonna kill everyone.
Fucking Eloise, man.
I'm sure that's happened more than once in Paris.
Oh, that seems like a regular occurrence, I would imagine.
Oh, probably.
But, like, legit, I guess on the subject of it, like, Eloise, it's like, I felt for her a little, but then it's like, oh no, you're trying to kill the innocent girl because...
You're trying to kill your stepdaughter because you and your son don't get shit.
All the inheritance
goes to the stepdaughter.
And it's like, oh, I wanted her comeuppance, where it's like, one of the only scenes, like, I kinda liked Gerard Vilfo was, like, the coming at her with the lie revealed thing, where it's like, oh, I see how it is. You're only good at poisoning others. You don't even have the balls to do it yourself.
Yes!
I was like, oh, that's scary. That's fucked up. But I was like, oh, goddamn, Tom, that was real good.
Tom Weiner can be, like, intimidating and scary sometimes. It's really fucking good.
And then, of course, Julianne Taylor's performance of playing, like, the second younger wife, who then goes mad and crazy, and then effectively, like, gets thrown in an asylum.
She's got a very toxic personality.
Mm-hmm.
None of these people are good for each other, which... When you're I think when you're French and you're rich, something happens to your morality and sense of self that just transmogrifies you into a worse monster than the Count or Gankutsuou could ever be.
I think it all comes down to wealth and power.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Correct. And then the second you have that power, you, especially if you've never had it to begin with, you don't want to let that go. And I think that's the big, like, you see that motif the strongest with Fernand Morserf.
Well, they all do it. They just do it with different elements. It's
Correct.
One of them uses military power, one of them
One's
uses
about
financial
legal,
power, and one of them is legal.
You have one who doesn't want to let go of power, you have one who doesn't want to let go of wealth, and you have a third who just doesn't want to let go of his status, really. For lack of better phrasing for Villefort.
They are all detestable people.
Reputation! Villefort is reputation because of the shit he pulls with Cavalcante.
They are all detestable people in such a way where it's like when they get their comeuppance from the Count of Monte Cristo, like even if you get to understand their family situations or their prior situations, they are so shitty by this point, they are so monstrous by this point, where it's like, yeah, you deserve everything that's coming to you.
And the worst
100%.
part, they are systemic. They are the very reason why this whole war that is kind of being talked about in the background, which does reference kind of what was going on in French politics, because the original story is set in like the direct days after Napoleon's death and like that whole Warring States era.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, these are people who are
Basically
of the time
war profiteers.
Absolutely.
Like that's what it is. They are war profiteers. They're like, we're getting rich. We're punishing people who don't deserve it. We are doing military campaigns. We are killing. Like, effectively...
We are jailing. We are taking money. We are doing everything to keep ourselves in power and keep this battle going because it enriches us.
Yeah, 100%.
So, there is... Watching this show in modern day 2025...
Oh, boy.
Where things have gotten a little bit...
awry?
Shall we say...
complicated?
How about...
fucky-wucky. Let's go with fucky-wucky.
Fucky-wucky.
I'm trying to think of the right term. Let's say fucky-wucky.
I mean, a fucky-wucky.
So there's something cathartic about seeing the rich, like the military war profiteer, the banker, and the guy who abuses the legal system, all getting absolutely, positively fucked. That's good shit.
You see why we wanted to show you this show for so long?
I'm so happy about this. I kind of want to... Can we talk about Paul St. Peter as Fernand?
Oh, he's so good.
We touched on Karen as his wife, Mercedes, but we didn't touch upon Fernand, really. Fernand as, like... not just as, like, one of the core pieces of Dantes' revenge, but, like, I feel like is the biggest, most central piece of it, because he basically effectively stole Dantes' love of his life. Like, Fernand, Paul St. Peter, Jesus Christ. Paul St. Peter, when you watch him as Fernand, starts off as this militant, charismatic individual who is ready to become, like, president of the country. And then, after Hede comes in and fucks up his shit, he slowly devolves into this kind of crazy man. And also desperate man wanting to retain his power, so much so that he does throw a fucking coup.
I think, like, Paul St. Peter does a great job at
he does really good.
wearing the mask of a strong, commanding, and dignified noble.
Yes.
Which I think, like, he does a good job sounding strong, sounding cool, sounding, like, suave, sounding like a military politician. So when the mask is fully unmasked, I think that's some of, like, the best performance of Paul St. Peter in the show, and probably, like, one of my favorite performances by the end. of this man who had it all, who is going mad, who's going crazy, insane, unhinged. It's pathetic.
His desperation
it's desperate.
is just crazy.
It's monstrous. It's like a feral creature.
Yeah.
It goes from like a dignified nobleman to a feral, monstrous, bloodthirsty beast. But also pathetic. It's so good. Paul's so pathetic. It's really, really good.
There's a sequence from Avatar: The Last Airbender I was thinking of when he was talking. It's a scene where Azula is talking to the leader of the Dai Li about, I could see your whole history in your eyes. You were born with nothing, so you've had to claw and scrape and connive your way to power. But true power, the divine right to rule, that's something you're born with. And that's exactly how Paul plays this character of, he was born from nothing, he's gotten a lot, and now it's slipping away, and he does not want to let that go.
Yeah, no, he will do anything to stay in power because he thinks he deserves it after coming from where he started. And he's since he has a taste of it, he's not going to let it go without a fight. Hence everything with the coup and just losing his fucking mind. And oh my god, Paul St. Peter is one of the tour de force performances. It's not, it almost borders lines ham chewing, but not to the extent that Liam pulls with Cavalcante. But he does steal quite a few of the scenes he's in, especially when he starts becoming that desperate individual, and he kind of just falls that, like, he kind of just starts devolving and falling to that desperation and that need to retain that power.
I think there's something different in the way, like, Andrea does it, where it's like Andrea is basically playing up the fact that he's this big dick noble.
Yes.
But he knows he's not that. He's playing, like, a parody of what he thinks that type of role should be.
Kind of, yeah.
Fernand has been living the life of a Morserf for so long that he truly believes in the nobility. He believes in his power. He believes in his right and his might. That when that stops working and that starts failing him,
that he has nothing left.
He's losing his self.
Yep.
And he doesn't
losing
know what
his
he is
identity.
anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Did you guys
and
have
he falls and crumbles?
Did you have any empathy in the last two episodes where we see him, start to say no, take me, leave my son alone, but take my life.
Fuck him. I was literally saying my biggest problem is I feel like his end was almost too dignified by what was shown previously.
It was
I had no empathy. I had no empathy for Fernand by the end of it.
I think Fernand's fate is interesting, where I think you can leave it up to, it's kind of left as an open interpretation whether or not you would forgive him or not for what he's done, and whether him staying behind is a valiant end for him or not. I think that's kind of how it's left up to more of an open interpretation of how you feel about it, which is very interesting.
I don't think it was valiant. I think it was fake cowardice.
If it wasn't for the fact that he had flat out said that, I never considered Edmond Dantes to be a friend of mine. I never considered that bastard to be, a close friend of mine. And it's like, yeah, I guess we can write him off as, though he was always this conniving and was just looking for an excuse to enact his, not even a revenge, just steal everything he felt was owed to him. It's a space incel is what he is.
However...
Oh my god! Yes! No! Let this man cook!
Okay,
Let this man cook!
Okay.
He's on to something!
I was gonna say something, but I was gonna play devil's advocate, but you go ahead.
That's a mic drop moment right there. Don't let me cook any further. That's all that needs to be said. The man does not deserve any more.
He doesn't deserve it because he's a fucking space incel. He got off easy because he threw a coup. He endangered and probably killed thousands, if not millions, of people, and he got to effectively kill himself. He got off easy.
Fair enough.
I'm not even gonna play devil's advocate anymore. Because you want to know what the biggest... Because the Count wanted to kill Albert in front of Fernand as his point of revenge, and now I'm putting together the reason why. Albert is his legacy. Albert is Fernand's legacy, At the end of the day, while he wants to retain power, even if he didn't have power, he would still have Mercedes, he would still have Albert. Mercedes left his ass, so that only leaves Albert. So the biggest revenge of all that the Count could have enacted was to get rid of his legacy, that being Albert. Hence the motive to kill Albert.
That's fair. I do see the logic there.
Mm-hmm.
The only
Which I don't think he accounted that for
yeah.
I guess
Albert was the monkey wrench in the plan here.
Albert, as Baptiste said, is tougher than we counted him for.
The only good thing you can say about Fernand is he is, of this troop, he is probably the best to his child. Like, he is the best parent. And
yes.
It's a low bar to clear, though.
It's a very low bar to clear. Because you have Julien Danglars, who basically sees Eugenie as property and not a person. And then you have Gerard Villefort, who effectively ignores Valentine for most of the time.
It's like, child. That was the...
Oh, he's terrible to his son, too. He's all...
Oh, Edward? Oh, yeah. He's also... Oh, he's horrendous to Edward as well.
Yeah. So...
It's more about controlling the children than it is loving and caring for them.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Tom Weiner, like you said, absolutely despicable character. The one who I think we all hate the most because he's not even fun to watch be terrible. Like, some of the other ones are like, okay, they're chewing the scenery, they're kind of fun. This guy is just scowling, hateful, spiteful, menacing. Like, I was glad to see him put on trial. And Tom plays that up very well. It's low-pitched voice,
yes.
It's got a little rasp to it. Yeah, it just plays up that villainous Villefort.
See, I hate Julian more because that guy is just posting on the internet 24/7.
Boy, that's
See,
black.
Oh!
Wait, what's wrong with posting on the internet 24/7?
No, Noah!
See,
Noah! Do you know where I'm going at with this?
I do, but I want you to verify for the viewers that you don't mean just posting anything. You're talking...
What I'm saying is Julian Danglars is the type of capitalist pig fucker that would literally buy a social media site to control the narrative, be the main character every day of his whole fucking life, and would bitch about shit on the internet all the time.
There you go. That's a good... Yeah.
See, I hate Danglars the most because...
Also, his name's Danglars. Like, what
yes.
an undignified name.
Can I give my reason?
Yes.
It's mostly the feminist in me, guys. Let's be real.
Absolutely justified. Like, not like any of these men here are, like, feminists themselves by any means. But yeah, the commodification...
Danglars is the worst.
Is really bad with Danglars, absolutely. He sold his wife's horse. He would sell his wife. He'd sell his daughter. Bastard.
I hate him.
Yeah.
I hate Danglars the most. He's a fucking piece of shit. Anyway, do we have any other... Cats. Do we have any other thoughts on these horrible parents and Mercedes?
All I have to say is Julian Danglars would be in the files.
Oh no! Listen, technically speaking, Gerard Villefort is in the files when you think about it in the context of the show.
Oh, they're all in the files technically when you think about it.
I'm just talking about the plot.
No, I know what
I'm talking about the prince assassination plot, bro.
No, I see. That was a very clever work for the plot,
yes.
which I'm very proud of you for making that very clever reference.
You're welcome.
I'm making a much more...
I'm aware of the reference you're making, Andrew.
Thank you.
Danglars fits that to a fucking T. Sorry, everybody. We're getting political up in here. We need to get back to the show.
We would never... be political on this podcast.
Ah, yes.
Never
the most non-political piece of media. Count of Monte Cristo.
No, see, I could show one of those, like, space incels, the Count of Monte Cristo, and they wouldn't even be mad. They wouldn't even realize it's making fun of them, or that it's a political anime, until they saw that there was a black man in it, then to be like, hey, wait a minute! This is political!
Oh my god.
We're laughing so we don't cry about how accurate that statement is.
Yeah,
yep.
unfortunately. Before this goes off the rails even more...
Let's move on.
Let's move on. While I talk about this next section, can you give me more water, Andrew? Please and thank you. I'm out of water. So, going from the awful, shitty parents and Mercedes, let's talk about the kids who are involved in all this shenanigans.
Count of Monte Cristo, the next generation.
Pretty much. We have majority of the kids. There are a couple that are missing, because they don't exactly have a lot to really do in the show. So I'm gonna work backwards from what the list I gave y'all. We have Lucien Debray. He is a secretary for the Interior. We have Maximilien Morel, who is a soldier in the army, who falls in love with Miss Valentine Villefort, of course, the daughter of Gerard Villefort. She is a very quiet, very shy kind of girl. You have Eugenie Danglars, who is the daughter of Julien Danglars, who is very sassy, very snarky, very much about being her own person, and she's very good at the piano. And then we have, I would kind of argue, potentially as a secondary main character, Franz Depenai. Now, Franz is I believe he's a baron, if I remember correctly. His father died when he was very little, and he befriends Albert, and they have been childhood friends since they were little kids. But Franz and Albert, throughout the course of the show, also kind of butt heads a lot when it comes to the Count of Monte Cristo. And Franz also is very, very skeptical of the Count, and is the first to find out about this being called Gankutsuou, and is trying to find out the truth behind everything. So, voicing these characters, we have for Lucien Debray, we have Doug Erholtz, who has voiced characters such as TK in Digimon Adventure 02, Asuma Sarutobi in the Naruto franchise, and Andrew's not here. He's still getting water. We have Kenneth El Malloy Archibald in Fate Zero.
Oh, okay. So that was going to be another Fire Emblem reference.
Hey, if you want, you can redo that segment.
Huh?
Like you were waiting for me to have a reaction.
You're fine.
Oh, okay.
Hi, you're fine. I was just telling Noah about Kenneth El Malloy Archibald in Fate Zero, aka Doug Erholtz.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, I remember that guy. Yeah, that's the dude who gets fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They all kind of got fucked.
They all kind of get fucked in Fate Zero.
That gives me so much context to work with.
You're welcome. As Maximilien Morel, it is actually our ADR director and scriptwriter, Mr. Tony Oliver, who has voiced characters such as, of course, Lupin the Third and Lupin the Third franchise in various iterations, Lancer in Fate Stay Night 2006, and Minato Namikaze in Naruto, aka Boruto's grandfather. Then we have, for Valentine, we have Dorothy Elias Fawn, who has voiced characters such as Meryl Streep in Trigun, Mikuni Kato, and Shoko Komi in Komi Can't Communicate, and Melody in Hunter x Hunter. As Eugenie is Michelle Ruff. As a side note as well, Michelle also voices Valentine's stepbrother, or half-brother, I guess, Edward, as well, little Edward.
He's a shit kid, but he doesn't really matter much.
Michelle, you have heard as characters such as Luna in the Viz Media dub of Sailor Moon, Yoko Littner in Gurren Lagann, and Tsukiko Sagi in Paranoid Agent. And as Franz Depenai, this is one of the few times we actually get to talk to this man. Not to him, but about him. We have...
right here in the room.
Yes, hello, sir. We have Mr. Ezra Weiss, who has voiced characters such as Mao in Code Geass, Panakata Fugo in JoJo Bizarre's Adventure Golden Wind. This is gonna hurt me. Kaname Kuran in Vampire Knight. This personally hurts me.
Does that hurt because of memories of watching the show, or because the character did something you didn't like in the show?
Memories of watching the show. This is when I first discovered what anime was. Vampire Knight, ironically enough, was airing around that time, and this was one of those shows where, back in the days of YouTube, you watch like the 5 minute. 5 minutes
360p
exactly.
Part 2 of 3.
And it was in the Japanese. And then the English dub...
Well, it was worth it because we didn't have a million freaking ads on every video at the time.
At the time, yeah. But I watched it in Japanese. And that I heard about the dub years later, and I watched the dub. I fucking hate the dub. For plenty of reasons. And
that's a story for another time.
That's a story for another day.
Talk about a dub you do like
here, so that Steph can tell us about the Vampire Knight dub. Just 90 minutes. We're gonna in the middle.
I don't. No, we're not. We are not, because one of the characters is a lasagna man we are not gonna fucking talk about today.
See, I was just gonna say, I'm looking at that Audacity timeline right now. We've got on plenty of tangents already.
Also true. Anyways, gentlemen, how do we feel about these characters?
I'll say this. I was going to be upset if certain characters in this group did not at least get out of this with a happy ending. Like, I think the two in particular, I was like, Maximilian and Valentine were the two where I'm like, I feel like most everybody is not gonna get out of this unscathed. Those are the only ones I genuinely would be like, if I do not see Maximilian and Valentine for the rest of the show, that's a good thing, because that means that they are safe. And that's kind of how it ended, where it's like, he came back from the war, and then they probably got married. I'm like, oh shit. Good for them.
Aside from one character in this group, everyone makes it out pretty much unscathed.
Except for one character they make it out of alive.
That is also true. Not just alive, but like an actual happy place.
Yes.
Like even
Lucien Debray?
Lucien Debray, yeah. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, yeah, even he got out of this okay. And he's a literal motherfucker.
Yeah. One of the first times we meet Lucien Debray, he did just spend the night with Eugenie's mom. So
like, hey, Eugenie.
Oh, you spent the night again. Great. I'm so happy for that.
Yep.
But then there's Maximilian, who's just a good little army boy who's just from Morserf, who's just doing his best, and he's kind of crushing on this cute girl who's a little bit of an aristocrat who's married to somebody else.
No, they weren't married yet. I was about to make the note. It does become like a small little plot line for a few episodes, because Valentine is engaged to Franz, but Maximilian, of course, falls in love with Valentine. So it's a matter of like trying to figure out how that love triangle,
and then it turns out it's not really a love triangle because Franz plays for a different team.
That he does. Put
he
a
does.
pin in that one.
We'll put a pin in that one for a second.
Also, as a side note, Eugenie is and then was engaged to Albert.
I gotta say, I was kind of genuinely surprised. It's like, wait, this is mutual? Or mutually sort of attractive?
You mean Eugenie and Albert?
Yeah. I was like, wait, is there something there?
Albert's a fucking dumbass. A naive dumbass, but eventually he figures his shit out.
He does have some game.
Yeah, he does.
He's just very stupid.
Could we classify Eugenie as a moron sexual then?
Fuck.
Albert asked me, what color is the Pink Panther? God, you're such an idiot. I said, I start taking my clothes off.
Oh no!
That question.
Oh, that poor girl. She's such a moron sexual. Oh, fuck. Yep, okay, we nailed it. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Alright.
Oh, boy.
So, legit, I love Tony Oliver as Maximilian, because I think he's genuinely a good, noble boy that kind of, like, through happenstance becomes part of this rich clique, but then, like, kind of, like, is, compared to almost everybody else in the squad, is truer to his sense of morals and ethics more than almost everybody else. Like, Albert's kind of questioning where he stands. Everybody else is kind of like, well, I mean, shit sucks, but that's just kind of the way it is. Or takes on, like, a passive, helpless role of, well, it's family. What am I going to do? Leave?
It certainly.
And he's like, no, I'm going to do something about this. I don't care. I'm going to take her with me. I'm going to get her out of this. She would be better off with me.
And it helps that they comes from a peasant background, like certainly playing into the politics of the series that these rich assholes are only doing what they do because they feel like they've got to hold on to the wealth and the power they've got. But when you're Maximilian, no, like, true love is true love. Like, I'm gonna act a little sword fight you over this, Albert. And Tony's portrayal as both the like stoic, not stoic, but like what's the tone he uses when he rescues their car and they first see him? He's like like a himbo. There we go. His himbo voice that he uses is absolutely
Tony Oliver is a himbo voice.
In this show, he is.
Yep.
He
is.
He's buff. He's kind. He's a little naive because he's all like, "What? You get married when you're not in love with each other? How does that work?"
I see the logic. I don't see himbo for him. I see the logic. I think he's too smart, and I think he's too genuinely moral to be himbo. I think he's just a good man.
He's the outsider coming in. He's the outsider looking in on this and is just like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
Like, I feel if he was dumb, he wouldn't understand what's happening with Valentine's and the Villefaux.
That's true.
I think if he is genuinely able to figure out there's complicated shit he doesn't fully get, but it's not because he's dumb, but he's like, I want to help you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Didn't come from that world.
Yeah, he's just...
That's why I will defend him.
He kind of walked into the lion's den a little bit with the aristocracy. But he made it out, and he got the girl
He made it out, and he got the girl, which is the most amazing part. Which also, I do like Dorothy Fawn. I think she's very cute as Valentine. I think she's like a little mousy, but I do like the fact that she does get the happy end.
Yes.
And like, even if it is like a Sleeping Beauty thing for a little bit, it's like, it does work out. I'm happy for them, genuinely.
I just want good things for Valentine and Maximilian. That's all I want. I want them to be happy. They did get married. We did see that they get married.
He does get the goatee to show that time has passed.
They did get married. I just want to see little baby Maximilians and Valentines running around in the house now.
Oh my god. You have no idea how much you're playing into the expectations that the original readers would have had as well. Because the whole point of the novels, like the serialized novels of that time, was you could just take the same characters and you could have like endless adventures with them forever. Like, that was actually a criticism that a lot of people at the time had with kind of the schlockier novels. Yeah, like we view novels like the Count of Monte Cristo as, like, classic upscale literature that the hoity-toity crowd reads. But there were a lot of novels at the time that were being serialized that played into, the sex and the violence and the romance and, all the elements.
Kind of run the gambit.
Noah, are you telling me that critics of the original Count of Monte Cristo books were complaining about filler?
They were complaining, not so much about filler, because again, you weren't reading it all at once. They weren't like, this should be trimmed down. They were complaining about the open-endedness of the endings. How the characters were allowed to go on living to the point that you could reasonably expect the author to insert them into future novels and cash an easy paycheck. But they were complaining about sequelization.
Interesting.
The people had no imagination for fan fictions back then. It's absurd. Anyways, so I do like Tony, I do like Dorothy, and so Doug Erholtz as Lucien Debray, he's close to being a Cavalcanti. He's close.
He doesn't quite get there
because
he
give him a pass.
Because he genuinely is a bro.
He is.
Actually is a supportive friend in need to Albert, and actually is willing to, kind of stick it to a little bit of the aristocracy, not in the vagina way, but, in the actual stick it to the man kind of way, which does win me over. It's why I'm not calling him Lucien Debussy, and I'm calling him Lucien Debray.
I I like to point out that in the epilogue episode as well, when peace is being drafted between Paris and the Empire and all this fun stuff, Lucien still has his job as a secretary in the interior, and he's, like, actually, like, showing enthusiasm for what's to come next, even though it could potentially get rid of the aristocracy in the process. So he's up for a change into the status quo.
Oh my god.
And
He's not just a shit lib. He talks the talk and he walks the walk.
Yep.
You know what? Proud of you, motherfucker. Affectionate. Affectionate. No, Lucien is affectionate, motherfucker. Cavalcanti is derogatory, motherfucker.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There we go. There you go. Put that.
There we go. I've cracked the code.
And also, fucking Lucien Debray gets to basically tell Cavalcanti to
He trips
suck
him.
it.
He trips him, and I'm
tells
like,
him
yeah,
suck it.
bitch.
During
That's
the
how you know he's a good one.
during the signing ceremony between Andrea and Eugenie, Albert sneaks in dressed as a maid, cause thanks Peppo, we love this.
I did think that was
Sneaks
fun.
Eugene out, and as Andrea is trying to go after Eugenie, Lucien's like, bitch, trips him, and Beauchamp, who we're not talking about, just starts taking pictures and just distracts him with Flash. And then...
I know we're not talking about Beauchamp, but I just want to say the reason I could tell that this was a fantasy version of Paris, France, is that there was a no smoking room in Paris, France. That's how I knew that this was a fictional story.
Anyway. And then I think, Mr. Lucien Debray helped call in the fuzz on Andrea Cavalcanti, if I'm correct. So, and arrest his ass again. So it's...
See, I was
Lucien is a real one. Lucien Debray is a real one.
You know this was a fantasy because people who do terrible things actually have consequences for doing terrible things.
Ooh, I was just doing a punchline. You went, ooh.
I want there to be poetic justice in the real world, okay? And I'm not getting it.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice.
I also like Duggar Holtz's Debray. He's Debray is a pompous little bitch that just takes his role super seriously half the time. But he also knows how to get what he wants and also knows how to play... This is the big key thing for Debray. He knows how to play the game.
He's also the only one who feels like he goes through an arc. Like, most of the characters, they're in different locations, but their personalities are kind of the same. Lucien is the only one who shifted from an opportunist who didn't think that there was any other way to live to a... No, I can actually stand for what I believe in, even if it's gonna, affect me negatively, because that's a better way to live than these assholes who are all around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the great thing is that Doug never changes his voice, though. He still has the smarmy fuckboy persona in the way he delivers the character's lines, even up to the end of the show, but... He just adds like a little bit more optimism in the end. He makes him sound like someone who's actually hopeful for the future rather than the nihilist that he was at the beginning of the show.
Yes. That is accurate. For sure. I feel so bad for Eugenie.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel so bad for her, but she makes it out.
She was another character where I genuinely was worried for the worst, but happy that she made it out.
Yes, because she, unbeknownst to her, she got to play at the Opera House thanks to fucking Cavalcanti and his financial backing, and she didn't know it.
Ticketmaster for Paris.
Pretty much. And it got the attention of an instructor at a conservatory in New York. So she got out of that just fine, and now she's a very well-renowned musician and piano player around the world. Like, she got out very, very nicely.
Well, if it's like a futuristic world at New York, wouldn't it be New York?
Whatever, who cares?
No, what I'm trying to get at is, did Eugenie cross paths with the Planet Express crew at any point while she was there? That's all I want to know.
I think there's a difference of 2,000 years.
I don't think there is. Like, they reference, there's a point where they reference, like, what year it is, and it is well into the future.
It's like, okay, hang on. I'm gonna look up what year Futurama takes place.
Oh, boy.
3,000.
Anyway.
It starts
Yeah! This takes place in, like, the 5,000s!
Oh, yeah. Alright, so maybe we shot the moon a little bit there.
Yeah, you did, buddy!
But you can't tell me that Fry didn't get frozen again and is awake sometime in the year 5000.
I didn't watch the reboot, I can't say that.
But what you can tell me, though, Andrew, is what you think of Michelle Ruff's portrayal of Eugenie.
I really like Michelle Ruff as Eugenie. I think it's very sweet, like, kind of childhood friend girl that's doing her best. Like, you could tell that she is somebody who wants out of this life, but compared to, like, some of the other people, she has accepted that she is a pawn, and, like, she kind of hates it.
Mm-hmm. She still kind of holds on to hope that her father actually loves her and is not going to, like, sell her off, basically.
And then, the second the stocks
but that
come
was
crashing...
but that was wishful thinking.
The second the stocks come crashing, it's like, you're
my only way out.
You're my only way out of this. And it's like, oh, that is as disgusting as you think it is. To where when she gets out and she gets on that plane, it's like, you know what? Good for you, sweetie. Good for you. And I do like Michelle Ruff. I think it's, like, kind of, like, sassy, kind of a little bit, like, pouty, but, like, little rich girl, but doing her best. But I also do genuinely think she's got, like, a real sweet tenderness alongside, like, Albert, and especially being friends with Franz, too. I do like the fact that there's, like, a tragic, it's like poetry, it rhymes thing with Albert, Franz, and Eugenie, compared to Fernand, Mercedes, and Edmond. And Edmond Dantes,
Yeah.
Like, literally, these, like,
an interesting
Franz
parallel,
talks about the dream that he had before he passes on, and that's literally, like, what the letter talks about when Albert finds it, is, like, she loses her favorite hat as they're running along on the beach and laughing. It's like, damn. But I do like Michelle Ruff a lot as Eugenie. I think it's a pretty good performance. Not my favorite Michelle, but she does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's a necessary one. It's certainly the kind of cosmopolitan voice that contrasts all the other younger female characters that we have. You know, it's not high-pitched like Pepe, it's not soft-spoken like Heidi, it's not the Sleeping Beauty of Dorothy Spawns either.
I will say the standout performance to me of this that I really do want to dig into the meat and potatoes of, though, is Franz.
We're going to. Like, Steph, you mentioned earlier that we don't get to talk about Ezra Weiss all that much. Why is that necessarily?
I think he's more of a director
He's
nowadays.
more of a director now than...
Like, I think he is the main director of the Miraculous Ladybug series, if I
believe so, yes. I would have to
he's done a handful of, like, anime dubs and stuff we've talked about in the past before. Like, I know we did, like, 86 a couple of years ago, and that was, like, a big favorite of ours. I think he's currently directing a show called Togen Anki, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he is.
So, yeah, like, he's still around, he's still directing anime, but... That's, like, more of, like, behind-the-scenes stuff. We don't always get to talk about his not on camera, on hot mic?
Live mic.
Live mic, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and it's a necessary voice. Like, this is the kind where this could have gone either way. Like, Franz's empathy has to absolutely carry the character. Because if he came off as too strong, like, if he came off as too dismissive of Albert's naivete, it would make us be unempathetic, and he would come off as just a bully friend character. But
I think there's a clear struggle that, like, Franz is basically worried for Albert in a way, not just because you're my best friend, ride or die, bro. And, like, there is a tenderness to him that it's like, he effectively sees a darkness growing in the person he loves most in the world, and he basically, like, spends his last minutes on this earth effectively telling him, do not let yourself be consumed by that darkness. No matter how, no matter why. It is your light, your kindness, your sincerity that I loved about you the most.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and that's tragic! That's fucking real and tragic, man.
Yeah.
You don't mean actual love, right? Because, I mean, like, he's not in love with Albert, right?
The undertones are there, bro.
It's not even
Okay.
undertones at all. It is freaking over the moon.
Okay, it's over the skull moon.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, let that
So, like, I legitimately was, like, doing a bit where it's like, this seems a little bit fruity. And then by the end of this, it's like, oh, he actually was in love with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
The director, like the anime director, was even pretty straightforward about how this isn't just adult contemporary story. It's like, no, there's actual, like, gay romance in here. And you could argue that's partially Albert's infatuation with the Count, which we'll get to in a bit. But very unambiguously, it is how Franz is written to have an unambiguous attraction to Albert.
I think that's why I feel like the anime starts out a little bit like 2000s gay jokey with Peppo before I realize as the show evolves as it goes on, no, it's kind of a little bit of a queer subtext and exploration.
Yeah. No, 100%.
It's doing things.
It's very interesting because when I first watched this in college, I never got that. But rewatching it now, rewatching
it now, and with me from a fresh lens, watching a bunch of stuff.
Oh no,
I'm like, this is a little gay.
Even if I didn't have you, I would have gotten it much more clearly this time around.
You would have gotten it more clearly, but you wouldn't have had the guy loudly talking on the couch. Oh, Franz is gay.
I would have gotten it without you being on the couch saying Franz is gay.
See, you would have said it dignified and written it in your notes.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of a queer subtext here. And like in a dignified way, instead of me going, oh shit, he gay. Good for him. Good for him.
But we're glad that you're there on the couch to shout that anyways, just so we can remove it. 'Cause I don't think we like to do that thing where we like say, oh, this could be interpreted as friendly or...
Oh, fuck. Okay.
No, straightforward about. Not straight.
No, you're actually being the opposite of straightforward. You're in fact being anything but here.
Like, just to be clear to everyone watching, even if you're on the fence, like if you're arguing in the comments that, no, they're just very good friends, let me tell you, getting in a suit of armor mech and risking your life and actually dying in place of the person that you love, that's not something that platonic friends do. That is what you do for someone you are romantically into.
Noah, that sentence you just said means you are ready to start watching Mobile Suit Gundam.
Oh boy.
Ready? My good man. Who do you think you are? I have experienced the world of Wing, and I've seen the movie version of Gundam. I haven't seen that.
No, I mean like Universal Century stuff. Like OG Char and stuff.
Let me just grab my massive calendar of free time I've got, and let me pencil that in.
How's next Tuesday sound? No.
What I'm saying is the people who are like, there's nothing political about Gundam. It's like, shut up. And also, it's gay too. It's political and it's gay. Always has been. Always will be.
I'm gonna going back to Franz. Going back to Franz. So Ezra, okay. So here's the thing. Because of my unfortunate past experience with Ezra Weiss as an actor. Thank you, Vampire Knight.
It's not your fault. You didn't know any better at the time.
I didn't. Well, one, I didn't know any better at the time, and two, it's traumatic in a disappointing way. Going back to Gankutsuou, first of all, when I watched this in college, I didn't put fucking 2 and 2 together at that time. But that was also before I knew Vampire Knight had a dub. So there's that. But, like, going into this rewatch of Gankutsuou, for me, Ezra, at the start, personally was one of the weakest performances. However, as time went on, and as Franz, I feel like, again, like I was saying before, Franz kind of becomes a secondary main character in my eyes, because he's the one who's doing all of this investigation and all this work to find out the truth about Gankutsuou and the Count and all this fun stuff. So in my eyes, I can see Franz as a secondary main character because of this.
Yeah, he doesn't interact with Albert that much for a good chunk of the series. Once they get back
Correct.
to Earth, it's not until their drinking party right before the duel that they, really have much of an interaction.
Yeah, have more of a heart-to-heart, because they do interact a little bit, but it's not at the same level as it was before at the start of the show. Their relationship is shifted and changed because of Albert's infatuation with the Count and because Franz's skepticism of the Count. And it kind of gets them to butt heads because of it. Over time, I've kind of grown to more appreciate Ezra's performance of Franz. It's a very vastly different dynamic compared to what we have for Albert. It's a different dynamic than what we have with the Count. It's a different dynamic we have with all these other characters. And Franz being effectively this gentle soul who just wants to protect those he cares about the most. Like, those qualities you can see portrayed by Ezra very, very, very well and very strongly. It just, because of my issues prior to this rewatch, it was the weakest performance at the start because of personal experience. It's nothing really to do with Ezra, honestly. But over time, as I continue to watch the show, and I see what Ezra was doing with the character of Franz, and I fall back in love with the character of Franz because of Ezra's performance. It just took a minute for me to get there because, unfortunately, Vampire Knight is a thing that fucking exists. But I digress. It exists for a lot of people. It took me a minute to get over Mila Lee, honestly, and what she did with Vampire Knight, and now I like Mila Lee a lot better.
Okay, good.
And I know...
You can
like,
stay.
I like her a lot more now. Right?
Have to
No,
throw
yeah.
you off the spaceship if you had bad things to say about Mila Lee.
I'm slowly chalking this up to Vampire Knight's English dub is just fucking terrible. To be honest with you, that's the lesson I had learned from this point by watching more things that like Ezra Weiss has done or Mila Lee in that case has done, and I love the performances they give in those a lot more. But no, I feel like Ezra has grown on me a lot over time in terms of Franz, and just seeing all of these elements and these pieces come together for Franz in this way where what he's doing, his motivations is all out of love and affection for Albert, and just wanting to protect him from the dangers that he's putting himself in because Albert is that naive. And I think Ezra captures that phenomenally.
Ezra's also got a great bit of episodes where he's basically explaining his backstory about how he came to meet Albert, and it has a lot to do with the death of his father and how he was raised up to be this, like, you gotta be serious and you gotta grow up fast, and that didn't really jive with him because he was like 5 at the time. Fair enough.
I think it could have been really easy to make Franz like a really either annoying or aggressively pushy character.
Yes.
But I think it's clear like his arc is necessary by the end of the show because it's basically telling Albert to not lose yourself to the darkness because effectively Franz's death could have been Albert's, like, I am vengeance, I am the night arc. And it would have just continued the cycle of violence begetting violence. Eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. But he's basically like, have faith in the love and hate are two sides of the same coin. All you, like, letting yourself get lost to that is how you're going to end up like the Count and like all of the parents that have been doomed to this fate.
Yes.
But he's like, I love you and care for you in a way that's like, I want to see you thrive. I know you're kind. You were there for me when I needed you. All the times we spent together were the best of my life. And it's also kind of fitting that he is the one that sets Edmund free.
Yeah. Realistically.
Because he gets the sneak attack sword stab, and the sword breaks in his heart.
Yes, there's a tip of the sword that Franz used that broke and was stuck in Edmund's heart, but Edmund, because at that point he couldn't feel emotions or anything, Gankutsuou effectively took over. He was fine. However, when Albert manages to get Edmund to finally feel emotions again,
to break the curse of Gankutsuou.
all of a sudden his heart, he's able to feel shit again, and then there goes the tip of that sword from Franz. So
Franz gave him the thing he's been begging for. Release.
The sweet release of death. Yep.
So that's kind of fitting that like that is sort of like his last gift to him, is effectively to give him peace.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of beautiful and tragic in a way that is both very sad, very Shakespearean, very gay.
It also kind of goes back...
Affectionate gay.
It also kind of goes back to Franz being the one that helps break the cycle of vengeance and hate for Albert. Franz is the one who breaks the cycle of vengeance with Edmond Dantes, when you think about it that way as well.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So, it's very interesting.
Everything did not go according to plan.
Yep, everything did not go according to Keikaku.
So, yeah, and the only other criticism I will slightly give on Ezra's performance is just that his acting is perfectly fine. He carries the character very well. I just wrote down in my notes that there was, like, anytime that he has to do any acting that's not dialogue-based, like, there's a scene where he's, like, kind of nervous laughing with Eugenie, because they're, like, I think they're, like, reminiscing over some of the good times. It's, like, kind of an awkward laugh that I don't think was quite intentional to be that awkward. And that's really the only bit. But in a show where, like, the acting is, like, A+ all the time, and then you hear this little patch that sounds like kind of a holdover of the style of voice acting from the 90s, you're like, ugh, how did that get in there?
Yeah, their Gankutsuou is not perfect. I think that's kind of why I said it has its moments where you can see that it is a product of its time. Moments like that is one of them, where there are some stiff and stilted moments when it comes to not necessarily like verbal dialogue, but like beats and moments and things like that. But no, I agree with that 100% as a fair criticism, honestly.
Yeah, but like you were saying, that and I haven't seen Vampire Nights, so I'm completely unaffected by the memory of what previous performances.
I if you were to watch it in Japanese. I do not recommend it in English. Also, only watch the show in general if you're in the trash shit, which would be a great ladies' night episode, but that's not happening anytime soon.
I'm sure someone in our Discord group is going to hear this and put a bullet in their recommend or die Nerf gun.
Nope.
Vampire Night.
Oh God. Sad sap, I am so sorry. Okay. Is there any other thoughts on this set of characters before we move on to our two main characters here?
Let's fire up the space.
For a bunch of rich aristocrat kids, I liked these kids better than the group of the parents. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank God.
Most of them are not as disillusioned with the world.
They're disillusioned and trying to figure out their place in the world,
Yep.
and some of them are even trying to figure out their sexualities, which you don't do a duel to the death to save somebody you don't have a little bit of fancy for, just saying. Anyways.
Okay. Alright. So, we got two more characters left, and they are effectively our lead character and our antagonistic character, or anti-hero if you want to view it this way as well. We have Albert de Morserf, and we have the Count of Monte Cristo, or we find out later on he is actually known as Edmond Dantes, who is the man who was wronged by these motherfucking men wanting power and money. So, these two are fun and interesting. Albert, of course, is the son of Fernand and Mercedes de Morserf. He is our lead protagonist and the one we view the world through. He's stupid and naive, doesn't know shit half the time, and a lot of his story is just coming to terms with the things that he has known since growing up in the world of the aristocracy, and coming to terms with how wrong it all is. And just trying to figure out, one, who he should be as a person, and two, eventually finding out the truth of what's going on with everybody, including his own family. And then, of course, you have, again, Edmond Dantes, aka the Count of Monte Cristo, wronged by Fernand, Julien, and Gerard Villefort, looking for his revenge against all of them, for various reasons. As Albert de Morserf, we have, under the alias of Kevin Hatcher, we have Johnny Young Bosch, who has voiced characters such as Vash the Stampede in Trigun, Kiba in Wolf's Rain, and both Yu Narukami and Toru Adachi in Persona 4. As for Edmond Dantes, the Count of Monte Cristo, under the alias of Taylor Henry, we have the one and only Mr. Jameson Price, who has voiced characters such as Lord Geonome in Gurren Lagann, Ryder in Fate Zero, and Yukichi Fukuzawa in Bungo Stray Dogs.
Alright.
Can we start with Johnny? Because I really feel like Jameson's going to take a good portion of this conversation.
I think that is fair. I think Albert is definitely... I will say, knowing that Albert was not the central character to begin with is interesting, because I feel... I'll say this. Albert starts the show off as a very difficult character, I think, to follow. But I think the investment and the choice to follow Albert's journey was the correct call. Because he goes through the most. Mm-hmm. He changes the most, I think, from the beginning of the series to the end of the series. Mm-hmm. For the better. He could have changed for the worse, but his arc and his saga of, like, trust and betrayal and, like, self-reflection makes him a better person by the end of it. Mm-hmm. And Johnny's got some real good scenes. Like, he's a good little shit kid. He's got some fun moments, but no, when Johnny's got to do some real heartbreak, torment, screams of anguish and pain and trauma. That man's got some real good trauma screams in him.
Yeah,
you have to come out. I have to speak with you.
Like, we're joking about it a little because, like, we're used to Johnny and it is very anime at times, but, like, Johnny's real fucking good and has been real fucking good for a long-ass time now.
This is definitely one of the more underrated and underappreciated roles, I think, for Johnny, to be honest with you.
I think that's fair. No, I think it is definitely something that went a little under the radar for him, and I can see why, because it is definitely... I don't know how to describe it. Ironically enough, in a show that is this colorful and flashy, Albert is a much more muted character than he usually plays.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even though there's nothing he's doing to his voice to try to make it sound different than any of the, like, young, naive Anjou characters you would have heard at the time. Like, I hear some of that screaming,
right.
And I still...
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Young ingenue characters.
Ingenue, yes. Okay. I thought you were failing to say ennui, and I was gonna make fun of you.
No, ingenue.
Okay.
Different. They haven't made ingenue a character in Inside Out yet, but they might for the third movie.
Well, anyways. Continue.
It is a performance that you may be a little distracted by if you've heard Johnny as a lead in something else. I know I heard a lot of Bash the Stampede in this because this was only recorded a couple of years after that series had come out. But it is fitting for the character. There is definitely a senpai-kohai relationship that was intentionally written into the adaptation of these characters, and it helps to have young Kohai Albert be voiced by an actor who can portray that naive young schoolboy voice in a way that carries throughout the entire series. Feel a little bad for him, but not too bad for him because, again, born rich boy of privilege, you're like, he kind of needs to learn about the real world. Like, he needs to learn about real love and how maybe your dad kind of did a war crime and maybe you don't...
I think it was so easy for Albert to... Okay, I'm going to use a very loaded word here, but bear with me for a second.
Okay.
That'll depend how this conversation goes.
I think it could have been very easy for Albert to be groomed into the lifestyle of the aristocracy.
Yeah.
Like, in that sense that, like, he could have been, don't think about it, don't worry about it, it's just the way it is.
Right.
It's just, you're just better and everybody else is just worse. Don't think about it, it's not a big deal.
To an extent, he does kind of have that in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think that starts to crumble a little bit when he meets Maximilian. And Maximilian is the one who questions, like, how the aristocracy works.
The fact that Maximilian effectively crushes on another girl who is engaged with a man that does not love her.
Correct.
And that it's suddenly the question of, like, he is offended. Like, he's not even fighting with Franz. Franz isn't even fighting for his girl because Franz doesn't care. He doesn't play that game.
One bit.
Like, Albert's like, how dare you? How dare you question that he wouldn't love his fiancée?
It's not just that. He got upset.
For his own parents.
Correct. He got upset that Maximilian was effectively insulting his parents' love. And this is before Albert realizes...
Edmund comes out.
Correct. Yeah. This is before Albert finds out the truth of what actually happened and how his parents got together.
I think Albert being like the naive rich shit kid, effectively learning his own sense of ethics, morals, and what is right and what he will stand for. I think it is a frustrating journey to watch, but it is a satisfying one by series end.
It's a necessary journey.
It is a necessary journey by the end, and I think having him be the POV character as the one who doesn't know anything to make the reveal of everything going on with the Count and Edmond Dantes is a very satisfying journey as somebody watching this for the very first time.
Yeah,
it was a very satisfying watch, start to finish, to follow that saga.
Yeah, and there's definitely, like you said, he could have been groomed into the aristocracy way. He could have been really swayed in any direction. Like, he was...
Yeah.
It looked like he was almost ready to, like, fall in with Luigi's criminal gang. It would, like, throw it all away and, like, okay, fine, sure, I'll join you as the life of a thief. Like, his life could have gone one of our directions, and it's ironic that the Count's advice to him about, you know, like, not losing your morals and how to be a great man is essentially fed to Albert as a way to, you know, get in his good graces as part of a scheme. But it does end up actually forming the morality that drives Albert to kind of undo that whole plan that he'd set up in the end. If he hadn't been fed by the Count to have these morals that he'd never heard of from anyone else, there's a good chance that he wouldn't have gotten in the way at the end there.
Yeah, no. I feel like with Albert, when you get to the end and he's confronting Edmund and trying to get him to stop what he's doing, Albert, both, I feel like out of affection, respect, and what's the word I was thinking of before?
Admiration?
No, I said that. respect, admiration,
Affection?
shit.
Deifying?
No.
Idolization?
Forgiveness.
Okay.
Forgiveness was the word I was thinking of. Like, Albert is trying to break the cycle of vengeance, right? And one of the ways I feel like, to an extent, that he was able to do that is to forgive the Count for some of the things he's done. It's not outwardly stated, but I feel like that's part of the vibe and the motivation that I got from that. Not just like trying to save him out of respect and admiration, but because he understands now where he's coming from. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the ultimate gift that Albert could give the Count is forgiveness for all the things that he's done, and to also apologize for everything that he's been through.
And you could argue that the anime crew took a lot of the same radical politics of the original author, in the sense that we want to make a better world. Like, we argue that the youth are the ones who can make that happen, because they haven't been corrupted by the cynicism of the world, or they haven't lost that sense of goodness that many people just tend to kind of lose over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think Johnny, like, the journey that Johnny goes through with Albert, I think is just done phenomenally. From this naive kid with the blinders on, all the way to facing the truth head on and being able to accept it for what it is. Mind you, and I don't know if Noah, you noticed this, I pointed this out to Andrew, he changed his last name by the end of it.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, he...
I completely forgot, because when this house is being foreclosed on to pay for back taxes, he signs it, but uses his mother's maiden name.
That's right, yeah. And you could get the sense that a lot of the morals he has also came from his mom instilling that goodness in him that she never quite lost, even as an aristocrat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, I do very much enjoy Johnny's performance, and was pleasantly surprised by the saga and development of Albert as a character. It is also a little bit fruity too. It's like, look, it's like, it's not completely, but like, it's a little, especially when he's breaking the curse. It's like, okay,
Albert is on a journey of self-discovery, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, I believe that Albert can play for two teams. I
can believe that, yeah.
If Ron plays for one team, I believe Albert strikes me as someone of the bi, maybe pan variety.
Oh, no, yeah, I can see that. I 100% see that.
This was definitely written by a romantic author. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other thoughts on Albert? Real quick before we move on to the Count.
This Johnny guy's a great actor. He should keep doing it.
I think he's going places, yes.
Alright.
Jameson motherfucking Price.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Sorry, Taylor Henry. Taylor motherfucking Henry!
I want you to know, Noah. So Jameson Price came to like a convention that was in the area a couple months ago. So we went there. We weren't intending on going to this convention at all. And then I saw he was on the guest list, and I look at Andrew, I'm like, Andrew, we're fucking going.
And I was like, yeah, okay, twist my arm.
So we just went for the day, and of course, I brought Gankutsuou with me for him to sign, and he's looking at it, he's like, oh my god! He was so excited, because on his, like, a lot of voice actors, like, will have, like, this banner, showing, like, the banner with the characters. The Count is there. And he is just like, oh my god, No, he was excited because he was like, I actually was thinking and considering of taking him off there because nobody knows who this character is. Thank you for bringing this to me. Yeah. He's like, thank you for bringing this to me. I was like, you're welcome, sir.
There is no more satisfying feeling at a convention where the actor you are bringing the thing to side is like, holy shit!
I forgot about this.
That is
But I could tell. Yeah, I could tell with Jameson when we met him, like, I feel like Gankutsuou was one of his most, like, proudest works. That's the vibe I got from him when we were talking to him.
Definitely, it is a very dynamic acting performance that, like, you typically don't get to hear him really stretch his wings for.
No, yeah, 100%. And, like, this role has been and always will be my favorite Jameson Price performance. Like, bar none. This man has charisma for days. He has the charm, he has the charisma, he has the swagger. He also has the malice and the menace and the vengeance, like undercurrent going on there. It's so... There's a lot with the Count. There's a lot going on with this character. Mm-hmm. And Jameson Price, if this is not a lesson, like a masterclass acting performance, I don't fucking know what else would be. You know what I mean?
It's certainly not a role that you get to hear a lot in a lot of anime. Just the character itself is, okay, adult males as the lead, not usually also a pretty boy. But you could argue the long hair and the cape and the cane and the top hat is what the Count is. But yeah, there's definitely a daddy aspect to it that you just don't see as the lead in a whole lot. I'm sorry, it is the Count daddy? Like, did we put him in that same camp? I feel like he qualifies. If
No!
Maximilian is himbo, we gotta argue if the Count is daddy.
Okay. I would fight Maximilian being himbo. I don't think there's any argument about the Count being daddy.
The Count is daddy.
Okay.
The Count is 100% daddy. He has the daddy energy for sure.
I'm even willing to go a step further and say it is close to Zaddy. Not quite daddy.
Okay.
Not quite Zaddy, but it's close.
Okay.
Definite daddy.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm glad that we got Jameson Price in this. I mean, there is different ways they could have cast this, certainly. The pitch is, the way that Jameson plays it, is actually pretty close to the way that the Japanese played it as well. It was low, it was alluring, like there was certainly a bit of a dark, sexy tone to it.
Right.
Shout out to Joji Nakata, which I know that's Seiyu that I know some friends of mine are big fans of for his work in Fate, especially.
And as deserved as well, because yeah, it's a very distinct kind of voice that anime's full of archetypes. Like we've long established at this point that it's just archetype after archetype. This particular one here, we need more of. Like we need more counts in anime for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like Jameson is just so captivating. Like you can't stop watching him, and you want to just like linger on every word he says throughout the whole course of the show. It is
delicious charisma, showmanship, and catharsis non-stop. It is tragic, it is engaging, it is mysterious, it is dark, it is sensual, it is fucking brutal. It's everything.
Yeah.
Let it not also be not pointed out, while he does really well in those scheming scenes or the seducing people scenes, he does really well in the scene when he's in jail, losing his mind too. Like his mind is broken, and he's like, "Please kill me now, please, just get it over."
I feel like any of the moments where he is personally tormented, not just when Dantes is in prison, but like when Gankutsuou is tormenting him as well. And he's slowly losing himself to his vengeance. I feel like the other big, another big turning point moment for Jameson is after... So he takes Albert with him to space. Heyday goes in and busts Fernand's shit up, basically. And the Countess is like, okay, you need to go back home. So he sends him home. And he's on the spaceship. And it's a quiet moment for a second as the music is playing.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just sitting there, and he seems like he's starting to cry.
Nope.
And then he starts laughing maniacally. And it's just a huge, it's like such a shift and that's when you start to see the full supposed death of Edmond Dantes and the Count, like, really resurging. Because by this point, you could still tell that there was some emotion, some morality.
Some humanity.
Some humanity, thank you. Some humanity left up until this point for Edmond Dantes.
I kind of love that scene especially because it's literally seeing a man who is stuck between two crossroads,
yes,
effectively making his choice.
Yes.
And that's why, like, it's a genuine, like, you could feel the heartbreak, you could feel the genuine kindness and honesty and, like, tenderness in somebody else reaching out to him, telling him he doesn't have to do this, he doesn't have to keep holding on to the anger and bitterness. But he's too far gone and he's done too much
to turn back now.
I have to double down.
Yep.
Otherwise, what the fuck else was the point?
Yep.
Which again,
and it's incredible performance.
Oh yeah, that's
fucking hell.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to critique it. Like really, if you don't jive with it, like the only people I've heard who don't jive with this performance are just ones who are like so
who are wrong
with the Japanese. No, well, okay, they were so enamored by Joji Nakata's original, like they probably heard it before they heard the English, that nothing would have been able to replace it. You know, like
no, that's extremely fair, and I get that, but they're allowed to be wrong.
But they're also wrong. I haven't watched the Japanese, so I'm not going to say anything on that, but...
Like, I do get the appeal of Joji Nakata. That dude is really good at what he does, and I've heard a bunch of stuff he's done in Fate.
But no, Jameson Price is a fucking tour de force, and I feel like he is the reason to watch this show in English. That's my personal opinion. He is the reason to watch this show in English, because he is so commanding and charismatic, and you can't look away. And you can't stop him from achieving his ultimate goal, and that is the point.
And honestly, with the people that he's taking down, do you really want him to not succeed?
Oh god, no. I ain't gonna stop his ass, you kidding me?
Oh, there's a couple of people where it's like, it's literally, you just hear the Chicago song, he had it coming.
Yep.
He had it coming.
Cell Block Tango, yep. Yeah, 100%.
If you'd have been there, honey, you would have done the same.
Yeah. The only thing I would kind of wish is that there wasn't as much collateral damage in trying to traumatize children that have nothing to do with it.
It is.
But that's...
Yeah.
That's my only request. But, no, Jameson is my favorite performance in the series. This is my favorite Jameson Price performance, period. Like... I love it so much. There's so much meat and potatoes that you can just, like, dig in there and just be like, delicious, I love it. I fucking love it.
What more is there to say? He's the title character for a reason.
Damn good performance, and fucking damn good show.
I guess, unless anyone has anything else they want to add, we can move into final thoughts.
Just a final question. Did you guys ever wonder why the subtitle is Gankutsuou of all things?
Like, what does Gankutsuou mean?
Yes.
I was curious. I don't know what Gankutsuou means.
It is Japanese for King of the Caves. Because functionally, the character is... The vampiric creature is a demon of the caves, as it were. So, fittingly for...
I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, and because in the original novel, again, just ties back into place, the source of the wealth that Edmond Dantes uncovers is a hidden treasure that was in the caves, as it were. So.
Oh, I like that. That's a good tie-in.
Yeah. So, and if he didn't have that wealth, he obviously wouldn't have the drive to initiate his revenge, which wouldn't have led to this whole thing. So, yeah, I like that they gave the character of his revenge an actual personality as this space vampire creature. It's great adaptation. I'm glad
I love
that they
it.
turned it into an anime and that they gave it a dub so we can talk about it.
A show that looks like this, frankly, I am kind of amazed at how well this has aged, despite the fact that aesthetically it has technically aged poorly.
So, okay. It sounds like at this point we're moving into final thoughts. I want to start final thoughts with Andrew.
Okay.
Andrew, what are your thoughts on the dub for Gankutsuou, the Count of Monte Cristo? I'm very curious to see what you think.
I will say the dub is very strong. Obviously, like, when we're doing stuff for classics, or when I'm watching something from, like, 15 to 20 years ago, I have to put a little bit of a caveat of, like, okay, this isn't technically as good as some other dubs I've heard recently. It's like, of course it's not. It was the 2000s. They didn't even have digital yet for a lot of this shit. Like, what am I gonna do? Yell at them for using tapes? With, like, it's tapes.
Right.
But, more even with that caveat aside, this is still a technically impressive dub that is as dramatic and theatrical as I've ever heard some of these actors really get to do. And it's definitely actually still got career highlight performances. I 100% see why this is your favorite Jameson Price performance.
Yes.
And there's some real good ones in the cast that really stuck out with me too. I was especially impressed with, like, Ezra Weiss and Paul St. Peter, especially. Like, there's some real good performances. There's some real standouts here and there. So, Steph and I, like, you know a lot about me when I'm watching stuff.
Sure do.
You can kind of tell
Sure do.
when I am into something.
You become so fucking quiet, it's not even funny.
She can tell because, like, if I'm just kind of whatever, like, I'm enjoying it, but, like, I'm kind of a little more passive in the couch, maybe a little more distractive, and I'm just like, this is fun, or I'm just kind of like, or I'll make some remarks. Steph can tell when I'm really into something.
Yep.
When I'm sitting forward and I am quiet.
He just gets so engaged with it. It's so fun to watch because that's when you know he's into it and he's got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
So, I was engaged start to finish. Watching this blind was a very satisfying experience, I will say that.
That makes me very happy to hear.
I will say, I think you played your hand a little... I think you played your hand a little too much with the, I'm not going to tell you who the narrator is.
I was curious!
I do, it was an interesting game, but it really was just as simple as, oh, that's just the actual space vampire. Got it.
Well, the rest of it was pretty straightforward once you knew context clues anyway. That was the only thing
I called ahead of time that Andre Cavalcanti was was the sibling.
Was the bastard
Because
child.
they literally
introduced
they literally looked like Eugenie.
That and they introduced him at the old Villefort Manor. So
That too. But legit, like, I was like, it was still an engaging mystery, tragedy, cathartic revenge story, while also a warning tale about the horrors and the trauma of revenge.
Yeah.
Great show. Fucking insane show. Happier ending than I genuinely was expecting, I'll say that.
Surprise, bitch.
It was like a shonen time skip. I was like, alright! Shit's working out. People are getting together. People are growing up and getting better. It's like, oh, fancy that. But also the people that really need their fucking comeuppance got their comeuppance, so hey! I don't know. The worst person is like the affectionate motherfucker's a politician now? Like, the bar of politicians is so goddamn low that a man who has slept with a married woman that is older than him is still a high bar as far as current politician goes.
Jesus Christ.
I had a great time watching this. I'm glad I got to be a part of this and talk about this.
And on that note, Noah,
I can't
what are your thoughts on the dub for Gankutsuou?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and criticize someone for having consensual relations with someone if they're, both legal age. Like, we're not going to,
What I'm saying is Julian, the fucking rich pig he is totally, like, gets off to cucking.
Oh, no doubt about that. He's got an favorited page, absolutely. But
shit. Anyway.
And also, he's got some other things. Anyways, go.
How long is the episode gonna be? Oh, good. Excellent.
Oh, we're closing it on 3 hours. Let's try and not go over that.
No, I think everyone kind of get this point that, no, this is a very good dub that if you're on the fence about, do I go Japanese or do I go English with this, absolutely go for the English one. They are both equally good. They both have standout actors in them. The writing, you will not miss out on anything. The only thing that I believe that they skimmed back out on in the writing was they cut out some of the words, like some of the places, or I think they actually named the ship that the characters were on when they were younger in the Japanese, which they didn't do in the English. That's a minor thing. That, like, you're not losing any context from that in itself. And it's a great companion to, hopefully, a great introduction to a great novel as well. Like, sometimes an adaptation of medium doesn't quite get across the point of what it is or the appeal of it. This absolutely does. In fact, it does it so well that Steph may remember many years ago, I helped post a video to her very old YouTube channel that was the top 10 Japanese adaptations of Western media. And what did I put as number 1 on that list?
It's been a hot minute, but yeah. You did put Gankutsuou here.
There is a reason this one is still held in high regard as something that both is not just a great adaptation that captures the essence, but gives it its own unique spin, so you're not just watching a TV version of the book or the novel or whatever. Go check it out if you haven't already. So glad we got to bring this back into place, and hopefully it will not remain a forgotten gem. Hopefully it will just continue to grow in stature and popularity in time, and people will remember it long after the concept of rich people has disappeared, which will hopefully be fair.
We can only hope.
Optimism. Anyway.
I'm shocked that there were no guillotines in this show, I gotta say. No.
There were guillotines in this show.
Yeah, oh, right! There was in episode 1!
Yes!
What did we start the show with?
There were guillotines on the... Look, there was guillotines in the moon that was shaped like a skull, not in the streets of France.
No, there were guillotines in the streets of France as well.
Okay.
Anyway.
There should have been more, that's all I'm saying.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Yes, there should.
So, Gankutsuou is actually one of my favorite anime, period. It's very high up there, and me rewatching it now only, like, reminds me of that. The show itself can be a lot, but, it, at its core, it tells this story of vengeance and the question of whether or not vengeance can really be worth it, or is it going to have a negative effect and just keep going and continue the cycle of vengeance and violence. And it's a very interesting. This adaptation is a very interesting take on the idea of it. The English dub, while it does show its age, it is a 20-year-old dub, let's be real. It does show its age, however, I still feel like it is a very timeless product. It's such a strong dub on the directing side, the writing side, the performances, with just some minor criticisms of some pieces of performances here and there. But overall, like, it is... The dub just adds to the tour de force that is Gankutsuou. And if you want, or if you need a reason to watch this show at all, and especially in the English dub, do it for Jamison Price. That bitch, that bastard deserves all the accolades on this one. Because I did almost call him a bitch. I changed it to bastard, though. It's fine. It's fine, guys. This show deserves so much more love and appreciation and attention. And I'm happy that we are finally coming back and talking about it again, because it's one of the shows that has just gone completely under the radar in the landscape of today's anime, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, market. It's a show that has kind of gotten lost to time. And it's something that I feel like really should be rectified, because it is an incredible series and has an English dub to match that. But so please go and check out Gankutsuou. If you are a fan of classic English literature, you're already gonna love this 100%. If you like the kind of drama and space opera-y type of shenanigans that happens, you're gonna like this too. If you are interested in watching this for yourself, at the time of recording this episode, Gankutsuou the Count of Monte Cristo is only available for streaming in, as far as I could tell, in 2 places. One is you can buy episodes that are available on Apple TV. The second, Crunchyroll still has the license for the show as a holdover from the Funimation days. So it is available in both Japanese and English on both of those platforms. It is not available on home video, unfortunately. The home video has gone out of print. If you are able to track it down, I suggest getting it, if you can. It was originally licensed through Genion Entertainment, so there is a Genion home video release. I know Noah has a copy of that. Or there's also the version that I have, which is the Funimation release, which was, I believe, the old save version of the show.
Hey, you want to see me tempt fate?
Oh god, what?
Hey, Discotech's gonna be at Otakon at the time of this recording. We'll see if they announce this.
There's a problem. Crunchyroll still has the license. That ain't happening anytime soon, Andrew.
I mean, probably, but hey, one can hope.
I mean, I would love to put it out into the ether as well, honestly. Because I feel like if the license were to actually eventually expire, I would love for a company like Discotech to pick it up and release it on Blu-ray. Like, this could be the shit. Like, this could be, like, their bread and butter right here, too. Because they magically got Berserk out of fucking licensed jail, so that it could basically almost get anything out of there. But for now, your only options to watch Gankutsuou is streaming, whether it's on Crunchyroll or buying episodes on Apple TV. Please go watch this show. Give it more love. Give it more love and attention, because it is a phenomenal fucking show. Anyways, if you are interested in anything that we here at the Dub Talk podcast do, if you want to watch or listen to any of our episodes, you can either do so by subscribing to us here on YouTube, or you can follow us on Spotify, Podbean, or Apple Podcasts, all of which are at Dub Talk Podcast. In terms of social media, if you want to follow us on social media, we are Dub Talk Podcast over on Blue Sky, the artist formerly known as Twitter. We also have a Twitch, we have an Instagram, we have a Tumblr. A chunk of those are dead at this point. But if you want to support us in a completely different capacity, we do have a Ko-fi account for one-time donations, and we also have a Patreon, where if you become a Patreon subscriber, you can get early access to audio episodes, you can take part, you can get early access to moments and clips, you can also take part in our quarterly Patreon poll, where you can submit episodes and then vote on what we cover next on the show. And some of those wonderful patrons that we have currently at the time of recording include in our $5 tier Bright Eyes 505, Quinoa Soup, Marissa Lenti, Megan's Mom and Dad, and Michelle Travis. And in our $10 tier, we have Anthony Brown, Carly Lesticow, Julia W., Pika Greg, and Shoulder. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. In terms of things that the three of us get up to on a frequent basis, you can follow Andrew on Blue Sky and the artist formerly known as Twitter. I believe the artist formerly known as Twitter, you are a Manga Man 9000, but on Blue Sky, you are Classy Spartan, correct?
Correct, indeed.
Cool. As for Noah, you can follow him on, I believe, both on the artist formerly known as Twitter, as well as Blue Sky under Noah Clue. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And he still does have a YouTube channel if you want to check out some fun things that he does. It's Journey Traveler if you want to check out some of his forays into animation, a broader look into animation in general, not just anime, but Western, Russian, French, just anything he can find on anything he can dig up.
ironically enough, I don't believe there's been a French animated adaptation of the Count of Monte Cristo. Not in the ones that I've researched. So, yeah, this is your best foray into the story if you're really keen on it being done in animation.
Interesting. I'm getting it out of my system. Okay. And then as for me, my name is Stephanie. I'm also known as Lilac. You can follow me on, what the fuck do I have now? You can follow me on...
You should know! You do this on the regular now!
It's been a minute since I've done more recordings consistently, though, to be fair. And let alone host one, a long one like this. You can follow me on Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, all at Lilac Anime Review being spelled R-E-V-U-E. I have been doing small streaming on my Twitch channel. I stream 2 to 3 days a week. I just actually changed the schedule as of this week. So you can catch me on Tuesday and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. At the time of recording this, we are currently almost done playing the Blue Lines route for Fire Emblem Three Houses, and we are also smack dab in the middle of I the Somnium Files and Date Everything, where Date Everything is throwing every voice actor in the kitchen sink into that into that dating sim. So it's a delight. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us I'm looking at this for like 3 hours. We appreciate you very, very much. I'm so happy we finally got to talk about this show.
This was a fun one. I'm glad I got to be part of this.
I'm so happy we finally got to talk about this
show. I'm glad I got to basically destroy our ad revenue by saying the word cunt way more times than I should. It's okay. I think I know an Australian. It's fine.
Okay. Sure.
It's gonna be so great putting the restriction on this when we upload Our buddy Jonathan, aka JR Pictures, gave me the C word pass. It's fine.
Okay. We're gonna go with it, I guess. But anyways, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Have a good night, everybody. And until next time, otaku on, my friends.
Bye.
Eat the rich.
Hold out hope and freaking eat the rich. Guillotines all around.
Amen! You're all invited to the Communist Manifesto cookie party. Except you, Calvacunty. You're not invited. You're not invited. You have bad vibes.
I was hoping to end this on a more sentimental note, but alright. Fuck you too, I guess.
Vive la France!
Oh, Christ. I'm done.
Good
night, everyone.
Aloha!